Today I will share with you some life-changing philosophy. Before we start, make sure to like the video and subscribe. Also, comment where are you watching from and at what time you are watching. Have a nice sleep. Imagine this. At this very moment, you hold the power to transform your life's greatest challenges into your most profound victories. But how, you might ask? Today we dive deep into the heart of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has empowered individuals to thrive in adversity and find serenity amidst chaos for centuries. Think about the last time you faced a situation that tested your patience or shook your confidence. How did you respond? Were you a prisoner to your immediate reactions, or did you choose a response that reflected your deeper values and convictions? This is where Stoicism shines, guiding us to respond to life's challenges with courage, wisdom, and equanimity. Today, we're diving into a profound concept that has its roots in ancient wisdom, yet remains strikingly relevant in our modern world: the art of training your mind to respond, not react. This concept isn't just about controlling your temper or keeping your cool in challenging situations. It's about cultivating a deep-seated sense of awareness, a grounding in the present moment that allows you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and intention. The Stoics, ancient philosophers known for their practical approach to life, had a lot to say about this. They believed that while we might not have control over the events that happen to us, we do have control over how we interpret and respond to these events. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what's within our control, encouraging a detachment from external circumstances and an anchoring in our own reasoned choices. It's this Stoic wisdom that can inspire us to pause, reflect, and choose a course of action that is reasoned and deliberate rather than impulsive and reactive. But why is this important? Well, think about how much of our stress, regret, and frustration comes from knee-jerk reactions to things people say or do. Now imagine if, instead, you could remain calm, centered, and thoughtful, even when the world around you is anything but. This isn't just about improving your peace of mind. It's about becoming a more effective, compassionate, and resilient person. Qualities that can transform not only your life, but also the lives of those around you. In our conversation today, we'll explore various strategies that draw from both modern psychology and Stoic philosophy to help you develop this responsive mindset. We'll look at how to cultivate mindfulness, the importance of identifying and expressing your emotions constructively, and how to keep the bigger picture in mind, a perspective that the Stoics excelled at. By the end of this discussion, you'll have a toolkit of strategies to help you pause, assess, and respond thoughtfully to whatever life throws your way. So, let's embark on this journey together, learning to anchor ourselves in the wisdom of Stoicism and the power of our own minds to choose our responses, transforming our experiences and interactions for the better. In our journey to understand the essence of responding over reacting, we delve into a realm where every thought and action is deliberate, echoing the profound teachings of Stoicism. The Stoics, those venerable sages of ancient Greece and Rome, held a view of life that is remarkably applicable to our fast-paced modern world. They taught the value of mastering one's emotions and reactions, emphasizing that true power lies in our ability to choose our response to any given situation. So, why is it so vital to cultivate a response rather than a knee-jerk reaction? Imagine you're in a tense meeting or facing a personal challenge. The default human behavior is often to react instinctively, driven by the immediate surge of emotions. This reaction, though natural, is seldom in our best interest in the long run. It can escalate conflicts, hurt relationships, and lead to decisions we might later regret. Here's where Stoic wisdom shines through. The Stoics believed in living according to nature and reason, advocating for a life where every action is guided by virtue and rational thought. By embracing this philosophy, we learn to observe our initial impulses, examine them with a rational mind, and choose a course of action that aligns with our core values and long-term goals. Responding rather than reacting means taking a moment to pause when faced with a triggering event. It's about stepping back to observe not only the external event, but also your internal response to it. This reflective pause allows you to consider various outcomes and choose one that is reasoned, balanced, and, most importantly, under your control. In practicing this Stoic approach, you're not suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. Instead, you're acknowledging them, understanding their origins, and then deciding if and how they should influence your actions. This approach empowers you to interact with the world in a way that maintains your inner peace and integrity, regardless of external circumstances. But the importance of responding over reacting extends beyond personal peace. It influences the quality of your relationships, the effectiveness of your leadership, and your resilience in the face of adversity. When you respond thoughtfully, you demonstrate respect, understanding, and empathy toward others' viewpoints and experiences, fostering more meaningful and constructive interactions. Embarking on a transformative journey to train the mind requires more than mere intention. It necessitates deliberate and sustained effort. Much like the practices espoused by the Stoics, these ancient philosophers offer timeless insights that can anchor our modern approach to cultivating a responsive rather than reactive mind. Firstly, let's delve into the power of self-awareness, a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics emphasize the importance of introspection and understanding one's own thoughts and motivations. In our context, this means cultivating an acute awareness of our mental and emotional states. When you're aware of your thoughts and feelings, you're better equipped to manage them effectively. This heightened self-awareness allows you to recognize the onset of emotional reactions and provides the crucial first step in choosing a different, more reasoned response. Next, we explore the practice of pausing, a simple yet profound strategy. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor, often spoke of the space between stimulus and response, the space where we have the power to choose our actions. By cultivating the habit of pausing, even just for a few seconds, we give ourselves the opportunity to step back from our immediate impulses. This pause can be filled with a deep breath, a moment of reflection, or a brief meditation. It's in this space that we can consult our inner Stoic, asking ourselves, what virtue calls for in this moment? What response aligns with our highest self? Another pivotal strategy is reframing our perspective, a technique that Stoics use to maintain equanimity in the face of adversity. This involves consciously choosing to view a situation from a different angle, one that reduces its emotional charge and reveals alternative ways to engage with it. For instance, instead of seeing a challenging work situation as a threat, you might reframe it as an opportunity to grow and demonstrate resilience. By changing our narrative, we shift our emotional responses and open up new possibilities for action. Moreover, the Stoics were advocates of focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. In practicing this principle, we learn to invest our energy wisely, responding actively to our own thoughts and actions while accepting external events as they unfold. This doesn't mean being passive or indifferent. Rather, it's about recognizing where our power truly lies and choosing to act there with intention and integrity. Finally, the practice of consistent reflection and adjustment is key to training the mind. The Stoics engaged in daily self-examination, assessing their actions and progress toward virtue. Similarly, we can end our day by reflecting on our responses, celebrating our successes and choosing thoughtful actions, and learning from the times we fell back into reactivity. This ongoing process of self-assessment and improvement fosters a responsive mindset and cultivates the wisdom and balance that Stoicism so highly values. By integrating these strategies into our daily lives, we not only honor the legacy of the Stoics, but also empower ourselves to live with greater purpose, calm, and effectiveness. Through persistent practice, we transform our minds, guiding them toward responses that reflect our deepest values and aspirations. Mindfulness, at its core, is about cultivating a deep awareness of the present moment. It's about observing our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment, allowing us to gain insights into their nature and influence. By practicing mindfulness, we align with the Stoic endeavor to live with awareness and intention, anchoring ourselves firmly in the now. the only time when we truly have the power to act. One practical way to cultivate mindfulness is through focused attention exercises, such as breath meditation. By simply observing our breath, noticing each inhale and exhale, we develop the ability to maintain attention and return it to our point of focus when it wanders. This practice is not just about relaxation, it's a training ground for the mind, enhancing our ability to concentrate and remain present amid life's distractions and challenges. Another key practice is mindful observation, which can be applied to any daily activity, turning it into an opportunity for mindfulness. Whether you're eating, walking, or even performing mundane tasks, you can practice being fully engaged with the activity, observing every aspect with curiosity and openness. This not only enriches the experience itself, but also strengthens your ability to remain focused and responsive in various situations. Body scan meditation is another powerful mindfulness technique that fosters body awareness and presence. By attentively scanning through different parts of the body, we not only cultivate a greater connection with our physical selves, but also learn to recognize and release stored tensions and emotions. This practice echoes the Stoic reflection on the nature of bodily experiences and the importance of not allowing them to unduly influence our rational minds. Incorporating mindfulness into our interactions with others can also transform our relationships and communication. By being fully present with others, listening attentively, and observing without judgment, we foster deeper understanding and connection. This practice aligns with the Stoic value of empathy and the recognition that others, too, are rational beings, navigating their own challenges and experiences. By embracing these mindfulness practices, we walk a path tread by the Stoics, one that leads to greater clarity, tranquility, and effectiveness in our actions. As we cultivate a mindful presence, we equip ourselves with the tools to respond to life's inevitable challenges with grace, wisdom, and composure, embodying the best of what it means to live a Stoic-inspired life. Now, let's transition our focus toward the pragmatic application of our newfound mindfulness and Stoic insights, aiming to cultivate a lifestyle where responding thoughtfully overshadows reactive impulses. This journey to implementing a response over reaction is not merely about suppressing natural reflexes. Rather, it's about enriching our engagement with life, echoing the Stoic virtue of living with deliberate intention and rationality. To embody the principles we've discussed, it's crucial to establish daily practices that reinforce the art of responding. Imagine you're faced with a challenging situation, perhaps a disagreement at work or an unforeseen setback. The immediate impulse might be to react emotionally, driven by frustration or disappointment. Yet, this is the moment to harness our Stoic-inspired training, to pause and consider the broader perspective, asking ourselves, what would a Stoic philosopher do? This question isn't a call for emotional suppression. Instead, it's an invitation to engage our rational mind, to evaluate the situation dispassionately and identify constructive responses. Here, we're not eliminating emotions, but channeling them productively, using reason to navigate through them. It's about acknowledging our feelings, understanding their triggers, and then, with clarity and calm, deciding the best course of action that aligns with our values and objectives. In practical terms, this could mean taking a brief walk to clear your mind before responding to a provocative email. Or it might involve a deeper analysis of what's truly upsetting you in a conflict, seeking the underlying issues rather than reacting to surface irritants. Each time you choose to respond rather than react, you're reinforcing a pattern of thoughtful engagement with life's challenges, fostering resilience, and cultivating a more profound sense of peace and satisfaction. Moreover, integrating this approach into your daily routines amplifies its impact. Begin your day with a reflection on your intentions, reminding yourself of your commitment to respond thoughtfully across various contexts. Engage in regular journaling to reflect on your responses, celebrate your successes, and identify areas for growth. And importantly, embrace a mindset of continuous learning and adaptation, recognizing that each day offers fresh opportunities to practice and deepen your mastery of response over reaction. By committing to this path, you're not just adopting a strategy for stress reduction or conflict management, you're embracing a way of life that reflects the Stoic pursuit of virtue and wisdom, You're choosing to live with intentionality, aligning your actions with your highest ideals, and in doing so, you're contributing to a more reasoned, compassionate, and responsive world. The journey from reaction to response is transformative, beckoning us toward a deeper engagement with our inner selves and the external world. It's a path that the Stoics walked with diligence and dedication, and now, with their wisdom guiding us, we too can aspire to navigate life's vicissitudes with grace, equanimity, and rationality. Embodying the true spirit of Stoicism in our modern era, the essence of our exploration is not just about managing our reactions in isolation, but about integrating a responsive, thoughtful approach into the fabric of our lives. By embracing the principles of Stoicism, focusing on what's within our control, acting with reason, and striving for virtue, we empower ourselves to navigate life's challenges with greater equanimity and purpose. Have you ever felt like a small boat, adrift in the vast ocean of social connections, yearning to be anchored in the hearts and minds of those around you? In this whirlwind of digital connectivity, where thousands of voices clamor for attention, it's easy to feel lost, unnoticed, and undervalued. But what if I told you that there's a timeless philosophy that can be your compass, guiding you to become not just another face in the crowd, but someone who truly matters to those around you? Welcome to a journey where ancient wisdom meets modern life. Today, we're diving deep into the art of making yourself a priority in others' lives, not through manipulation or games, but through the profound and authentic principles of Stoicism. Stay with me as we explore how to be a beacon in the sea of relationships, shining brightly enough to be seen, valued, and cherished. And if you're ready to unlock these secrets, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, share this video with your circle, and stay tuned until the end for every insightful moment. Because every second of this journey could be the key to transforming your relationship. Step 1. Context and problem. In our quest for significance in the complex tapestry of social relationships, we frequently encounter a disheartening imbalance, a pervasive sense that we hold others in higher regard than they do us. This perception, often shadowed by the disquieting feeling of being undervalued, leads us to a profound exploration of self-worth. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy rich in wisdom, offers us a beacon of guidance in this regard. The Stoic philosophy, rooted in the teachings of thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, emphasizes an internal locus of control. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, profoundly observed, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This powerful statement echoes the Stoic belief that true worth and contentment arise not from external validation, but from within. It's a reminder that our value does not depend on the whims or perceptions of others, but on our own self-perception and inner resilience. Seneca, another stalwart of Stoicism, accentuated the importance of self-reliance and inner fortitude. He eloquently stated, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." This insight underscores the necessity of self-awareness and having a clear understanding of our own values and goals. In the context of our social relationships, it suggests that knowing ourselves and our worth is the first step in being valued appropriately by others. Epictetus, with his emphasis on the dichotomy of control, reinforces this Stoic approach. He argued that we must focus on what is within our power, our responses, our attitudes, and our actions, and let go of our concern over how others perceive us. This detachment from external validation is liberating and empowers us to cultivate a sense of self-worth that is independent of others' opinions. The Stoic approach to finding worth within oneself resonates with contemporary psychological theories as well. Carl Jung, a pivotal figure in the field of psychology, once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." This aligns with the Stoic principle of authentic living, the idea that true value and happiness are found in living in accordance with one's own nature and virtues. Step 2. Solution and application. In this exploration of strengthening our significance in the lives of others, we turn to the rich wellspring of Stoicism and the broader landscape of philosophical thought for practical methods. The focus here is not on manipulation or superficial tactics, but rather on fostering a wise and sincere approach to building authentic, high-value relationships. At the heart of Stoicism lies the wisdom of understanding and controlling what is within our power. As Epictetus famously stated, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. In the context of relationships, this means focusing on our actions, reactions, and the genuine nature of our interactions with others. By doing so, we enhance the quality of our presence in others' lives, making it more likely for them to genuinely value and appreciate us. Marcus Aurelius, another renowned Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of authenticity in our interactions. He advised, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This speaks to the core of forming high-value relationships, being genuine, kind, and true to our principles in all our interactions. By embodying the virtues we admire, we naturally attract people who value these qualities, thereby establishing a foundation for meaningful and enduring relationships. Furthermore, Seneca's teachings on the brevity of life and the importance of living in accordance with nature remind us to value the time we spend with others. He said, "Life, if well lived, is long enough." This underscores the idea of being fully present and engaged in our interactions, making every moment count. By bringing our full attention and sincerity to our relationships, we signal to others that they are important to us, inviting a reciprocal appreciation and deepening of the bond. The application of these Stoic principles is also reflected in the broader philosophical context. Aristotle's concept of eudaimonia, or flourishing, is achieved through virtuous activities that constitute a life well lived. In the realm of relationships, this translates to engaging in interactions that are mutually enriching, honest, and respectful. By striving for personal excellence in how we treat others, we cultivate relationships that are not only valuable but also contribute to our overall well-being and fulfillment. Carl Jung's insights into the psyche further illuminate this approach. He believed in the power of individuation, the process of becoming aware of oneself and the world around us. Jung stated, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." This perspective encourages us to engage in relationships as whole, self-aware individuals, capable of profound connections that transform and enrich both parties. Step 3. Stoic principle, the Stoic philosophy, deeply rooted in the wisdom of thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, provides profound insight into the nature of relationships and self-worth. The saying, "Show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are," reflects not just the impact of our social circle on our identity, but also the significance of reciprocity in relationships. Stoicism encourages us to examine these dynamics closely, particularly the value we assign to ourselves and how this is reflected in our interactions with others. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, emphasized the importance of self-reflection in understanding one's value in relationships. He believed in looking inward to find true worth rather than seeking validation externally. Aurelius famously said, "The value of a man is measured by the value he places on himself." This highlights the Stoic principle that our self-worth should not be excessively dependent on others' perceptions or priorities. Instead, it should be grounded in our own understanding of our value and contribution. Seneca, another key Stoic figure, spoke about the balance between being social beings and maintaining our independence. He advised, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." This suggests choosing relationships that are mutually beneficial and uplifting, rather than being in ones where we feel undervalued or neglected. Seneca's guidance implies that being needy or overly dependent on others for our sense of self-worth can lead to unfulfilling relationships. Instead, we should cultivate relationships that encourage mutual growth and respect. Epictetus, known for his teachings on control and acceptance, also touches upon this subject. He said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." Applying this to relationships, it means understanding that we may not always be a priority for others, and that's okay. What we can control is how we respond to this realization and how we value ourselves in these dynamics. Western philosophy and psychology echo these sentiments. Aristotle spoke of the golden mean, where virtue lies in finding a balance, in this case between valuing oneself and valuing others in a relationship. Carl Jung, a prominent psychologist, emphasized the importance of individuation, where understanding and integrating aspects of oneself leads to personal growth and healthier relationships. Step 4. Practical actions in the quest to be more valued in our relationships. Stoicism offers a pragmatic and dignified approach centered around the management of our presence and availability. This philosophy, deeply rooted in the wisdom of luminaries like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, provides guidance on how to navigate our social interactions with grace and intention. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, highlighted the importance of valuing one's time and presence. He taught that time is one of the few things under our control in a world governed by fate and external circumstances. By judiciously managing our availability, we signal to others the value of our time and, in turn, increase our own worth in their eyes. Aurelius believed in the principle of purposeful action, which includes making conscious decisions about when and how to engage with others. Seneca, another prominent Stoic philosopher, echoed this sentiment. He advised that we should be selective with our company and time. Seneca's teachings suggest that by occasionally withdrawing our presence, we allow others to appreciate our value more fully. He wrote, "True happiness is to be free from the yoke of our own desires and to be able to relax and lay aside our anxiety. This relaxation includes not succumbing to the need for constant social validation and understanding the power of absence in enhancing our relationships." Epictetus, a Greek Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of focusing on what we can control. He said, "Only the educated are free." In the context of relationships, this education involves understanding that we have the power to manage our time and attention. By controlling our availability, we assert our freedom and self-respect, which, in turn, leads others to value and respect us more. Western philosophy and psychology also support these Stoic principles. Aristotle spoke about the golden mean, advocating for a balance in all things. In terms of social interactions, this means finding a middle ground between being overly available and completely inaccessible. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, emphasized the importance of individuation, which involves understanding and integrating one's own needs and boundaries. This self-awareness leads to healthier interactions, where one's time and presence are valued. In practical terms, to be more valued by others, we can start by judiciously managing our availability. It's not about playing games or being elusive, but about respecting our own time and teaching others to do the same. By occasionally allowing people to miss us, we create a healthy dynamic where our presence is appreciated and sought after. Remember, it's not about controlling others or the outcomes of our relationships, but about managing our own actions and choices with wisdom and dignity. Step 5. Developing patience. In Stoic philosophy, the concept of patience is elevated to an art form, a crucial skill for thriving amidst life's perpetual turmoil. This perspective, deeply embedded in the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, resonates with timeless relevance. Marcus Aurelius, renowned for his meditative reflections, saw patience as a form of inner fortress. He believed that our inner peace should not be at the mercy of external events. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This statement encapsulates the Stoic essence of patience. It's not about waiting idly for circumstances to change, but about maintaining a composed and resilient mindset, regardless of what life throws our way. Seneca, another luminary in Stoic thought, echoed similar sentiments. He viewed patience as a conscious resistance against the rushing tides of life, a means of maintaining dignity and grace under pressure. The greatest remedy for anger is delay, Seneca advised, suggesting that patience is a deliberate choice to pause and reflect rather than react impulsively. This approach is far from passive. It's an active engagement with our emotional landscape, mastering our impulses in favor of thoughtful responses. Epictetus, known for his practical wisdom, placed great emphasis on the dichotomy of control, teaching that while we cannot control external events, we have absolute power over our reactions. Patience, from this viewpoint, is a manifestation of this control, a serene assertion of our ability to endure and persevere. No man is free who is not master of himself, Epictetus asserted, highlighting that true freedom comes from self-mastery, of which patience is a vital component. From a broader Western philosophical and psychological perspective, patience aligns with the ideals of emotional regulation and resilience. Aristotle's concept of the golden mean advocates for a balanced approach to life, suggesting that patience is a midpoint between passive inaction and rash impulsiveness. Carl Jung's focus on individuation, the process of becoming aware of oneself, aligns with the Stoic practice of patience. By understanding and managing our emotions, we attain a level of self-awareness and maturity that enhances our interactions with others and our environment. In contemporary terms, practicing patience means embracing the present moment without being overwhelmed by the desire for immediate results or responses. It's about maintaining composure in a fast-paced, often chaotic world. This quality makes us more attractive to others because it exudes confidence and stability. People are naturally drawn to those who display calmness and resilience in the face of adversity. Step 6. Self-prioritization. In the realm of Stoicism, the practice of self-prioritization is not just encouraged but seen as a necessary aspect of a balanced life. This notion finds echoes across various Western philosophical and psychological thoughts, emphasizing the importance of valuing oneself to be valued by others. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic philosopher, highlighted the significance of self-regard. He famously stated, "If you do not have respect for yourself, no one else will." This quote underscores the Stoic belief that self-respect is the cornerstone of how others perceive and treat us. When we prioritize our needs and learn to say no, we communicate to others that our time and energy are precious and deserve respect. Seneca, another Stoic thinker, argued for the virtue of self-care. He believed that caring for oneself is essential to living a fulfilled life. We are not given a short life, but we make it short, and we are not ill-supplied, but wasteful of it, Seneca wrote, implying that failing to prioritize ourselves leads to a wasted life. By saying no when necessary, we manage our resources wisely and lead a life of quality, not just in terms of time, but in our relationships and endeavors. Epictetus emphasized the concept of control, particularly over our actions and choices. He taught it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This idea is crucial in understanding self-prioritization. When we choose to prioritize our own needs, we are actively deciding how to react to the demands of others, thereby maintaining control over our lives. From a broader psychological perspective, Carl Jung's concept of individuation aligns with this Stoic practice. Jung believed in the importance of understanding oneself as an individual, separate from the collective. Prioritizing oneself is a step toward achieving this individuation, leading to a stronger, more defined personality that commands respect and importance from others. Aristotle's notion of the golden mean, the desirable middle between two extremes, also supports the idea of self-prioritization. Aristotle taught that virtue lies in finding balance, which includes balancing our own needs with the needs of others. Saying no is not an act of selfishness, but a practice of maintaining this balance. By applying these Stoic and philosophical principles, we learn that prioritizing ourselves is not an act of selfishness, but a necessary step toward being valued and respected by others. It teaches us to manage our personal resources effectively and sets a standard for how others should treat us. When we demonstrate that we value our own time and efforts, we naturally inspire others to do the same. This act of self-respect not only benefits our mental and emotional well-being, but also enhances our social and professional relationships. Step 7. Time management. In the teachings of Seneca, a luminary in the Stoic school of philosophy, we find profound insights on the wise use of time, a concept that resonates deeply in both ancient wisdom and contemporary thought. Seneca's perspective on time management is not just about efficiency or productivity, it's about the quality of life and making conscious, meaningful choices. Seneca, in his essay on the shortness of life, famously stated, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements. If it were all well invested, this quote encapsulates the Stoic view that time, once lost, is something we can never regain. Therefore, Seneca urges us to be selective with whom we spend our time and how we spend it, emphasizing that our time is a precious and limited resource that should be used wisely and purposefully. This Stoic principle aligns with the thoughts of Aristotle, who believed in the importance of pursuing activities that enrich our soul. Aristotle taught that eudaimonia, or flourishing, is the highest good for human beings, and this can only be achieved by living a life of virtue and engaging in activities that fulfill our true nature. By managing our time wisely, we can devote more of it to activities that contribute to our personal growth and happiness. Plato, another great philosopher, also touched on the importance of self-reflection and personal growth. He believed that an unexamined life is not worth living. In this context, the wise management of time includes periods of introspection and contemplation, allowing us to understand ourselves and our place in the world better. From a psychological standpoint, Carl Jung's concept of individuation further supports the idea of wise time management. Jung emphasized the importance of personal development and self-realization. By choosing how we spend our time, we can engage in activities that contribute to our personal and psychological growth. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, also stressed the importance of focusing on what is within our control. He taught that we should not squander our time on things beyond our control, but instead focus on our actions and choices. This approach to time management is about making conscious decisions that reflect our values and goals. Step 8. Autonomy. Epictetus, a philosopher renowned for his profound insights into the nature of happiness and the good life, presents a compelling argument about the essence of true freedom. His assertion, "No man is free who is not master of himself," encapsulates a fundamental principle of personal autonomy and self-mastery. This concept, deeply rooted in Epicurean philosophy, emphasizes the importance of controlling our decisions and emotions as a pathway to enhancing our self-worth and autonomy. Epicurus's philosophy, though distinct from Stoicism, shares the conviction that inner peace and freedom stem from self-governance. He believed that pleasure, understood as the absence of pain and disturbance, is achieved through simple living, the cultivation of personal virtues, and the management of desires. This perspective encourages us to reflect on our emotional responses and decision-making processes, suggesting that true freedom is found not in external circumstances, but in how we manage our internal states. This idea resonates with the Stoic teachings of Epictetus, who famously said, "We are disturbed not by events, but by the views which we take of them." Epictetus emphasizes that our perception of events, more than the events themselves, determines our peace of mind. This Stoic view aligns with Epicurus's emphasis on internal mastery as the key to freedom. From a broader philosophical perspective, Aristotle's concept of eudaimonia, or flourishing, is achieved through the exercise of virtue and rationality, echoing the sentiment of self-mastery. Aristotle believed that living according to reason and virtue leads to the highest form of happiness, a state that is closely linked to having control over one's actions and emotions. In the realm of psychology, Carl Jung's emphasis on individuation, the process of becoming aware of one's self, aligns with this idea. Jung believed that becoming conscious of our inner world and integrating different aspects of our personality leads to psychological wholeness and autonomy. This process involves understanding and managing our emotions, thoughts, and behaviors, much like what Epictetus and the Stoics advocate. Plato's philosophy also underscores the importance of self-governance. In his dialogues, Plato often explores the theme of ruling one's self as a precondition for ruling others. He suggests that self-mastery and the ability to govern one's passions and impulses are essential for a harmonious and virtuous life. Have you ever noticed how just a few seconds of intense anger can cause more damage than you thought possible? Imagine this. In just the time it takes to snap your fingers, relationships can be strained and days can be ruined. It's startling, isn't it? How powerful and potentially destructive a single moment of anger can be. But what if I told you that this same powerful force, when understood and harnessed, can become a profound tool for personal growth and strength? Today we dive deep into the ancient yet incredibly relevant world of Stoicism. It's not just about enduring hardship, but transforming our responses to them for greater peace and clarity. I invite you all to engage in this conversation. Comment below with your thoughts and experiences regarding anger. How open are you to exploring Stoic ways to master your emotions? If you're someone who seeks to grow, who loves to challenge your own boundaries of understanding, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video. Spread the word and help others discover the power of Stoicism. And stay tuned, especially if you're skeptical about what Stoicism can offer. This video is packed with insights that might just change your mind. Together, we'll explore not just the theory, but the practical applications of Stoicism in controlling anger, with real-life examples and actionable advice. It promises to be an enlightening experience, so watch till the end to gain a full understanding of how to transform anger from a destructive impulse into a constructive force. Let's get started. Have you ever suddenly found yourself in the middle of a heated argument, heart racing, with words spilling out that you instantly wish you could take back? That moment, that explosion of anger, seems to come from nowhere, right? It's almost like a switch flips inside us. One minute everything is fine, and the next, we're swept up in a wave of emotions so strong that it can feel uncontrollable. This is what I like to call the burst of anger, a sudden release that can disrupt not just your day, but potentially your life. Think about the last time you felt this burst of anger. Maybe it was a disagreement with a friend or a frustration at work. It's something we've all faced. Anger is not just a simple emotion. It's a complex response that can lead to regrettable actions and hurtful words. And let's be honest, it often leaves a trail of damage in its wake, from strained relationships to missed opportunities for understanding and connection. But what if I told you there's a different way to handle this burst? This is where the wisdom of Stoicism comes into play. Stoics teach us that we may not have control over every situation we encounter, but we can control our response. It's not about suppressing your anger or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about recognizing that moment of eruption and choosing a different path. Stoicism offers us tools to pause and reflect instead of react. It teaches us to look at anger through a lens of awareness and understanding. Why am I angry? What triggered this response? By asking these questions, we start to take power back from our impulsive reactions and begin to manage our emotions more constructively. This approach doesn't diminish the validity of our feelings, but empowers us to handle them with clarity and strength. It's about transforming what seems like an uncontrollable outburst into a moment of choice. Every time you feel that surge of anger, remember, this isn't just an emotional response. It's an opportunity to grow, to embody the Stoic virtues of wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has endured through the centuries, offers a unique lens through which we can view our emotions, especially those as volatile and impactful as anger. So, what do the Stoics say about anger? Simply put, they believe that anger stems not from the external events we experience, but from our internal judgments and reactions to those events. Now, you might be wondering, how does that help me when I'm actually angry? According to Stoicism, the key lies in recognizing that we have the power to question and adjust our immediate reactions. For instance, when someone cuts you off in traffic, your instant reaction might be anger. Your heart starts pounding, you might yell or gesture at the other driver, and your mood is off for the next few hours. But here's the Stoic twist. Instead of succumbing to anger, you pause. You reflect on why you're angry. Is it truly because of the other driver, or is it because you've allowed their actions to disturb your peace? This reflection is at the heart of the Stoic approach to anger. It's about stepping back and asking, what is within my control? You can't control the traffic, the other driver, or even the fact that you were cut off, but you can control your response. This doesn't mean you don't feel the rush of emotion. It means you acknowledge it and then choose not to let it dictate your actions. Stoicism teaches us that our emotions, anger included, should be indicators, not dictators. They signal to us that something is happening that might require our attention, but they shouldn't sweep us away into reactive behavior. When we look at anger through this Stoic lens, it becomes less about suppressing anger and more about managing it. It's not suppression because you're not denying or ignoring your feelings. You're acknowledging them, analyzing them, and then making a conscious decision about how to proceed. This perspective is incredibly empowering. Think about it. If you can master this Stoic practice, how many situations would be less stressful? How much more effective could your communication be? How much more peace could you bring into your life? As we continue this discussion, I invite you to consider the Stoic idea that virtue is the sole good. This doesn't just mean moral excellence, but refers to the idea of living in accordance with reason and wisdom, especially in the face of emotions like anger. By striving toward virtue, we can transform potentially destructive anger into constructive responses that align with our deepest values. So, as we unpack these ideas, remember that Stoicism isn't just about enduring life's challenges. It's about thriving through them by harnessing our inner strength and wisdom. Controlling anger doesn't mean we never feel angry. Rather, it's about managing our response when that feeling arises. Here's a roadmap you can use to cultivate a more measured reaction when you're tempted to let anger take the wheel. First and foremost, recognize the onset of anger. This is crucial. Stoicism teaches us to be observant of our inner states. Notice when your body begins to show signs of anger. Maybe your heartbeat accelerates, your breathing gets shallow, or you start to clench your fists. These are your body's signals, alerting you that it's time to intervene. Once you recognize these signs, the next step is to pause. This is where the power of Stoicism really shines. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor and philosopher, emphasized the importance of pausing to separate our initial reactions from our deliberate actions. By pausing, you give yourself a moment to step back from the immediate emotional response. This doesn't have to be long. Sometimes just a few seconds can make a significant difference. During this pause, engage in reflective thinking. Ask yourself, why am I feeling angry? Is it because your expectations weren't met? Is it because you feel disrespected? Understanding the why behind your anger can help you address the root cause rather than just the symptoms. This step is about responding with reason rather than reacting out of emotion. Now let's talk about reappraisal of the situation, which is a classic Stoic strategy. This involves reframing the event that triggered your anger. For example, if someone has acted in a way that angers you, instead of viewing it as a personal attack, consider alternative explanations. Perhaps they're having a bad day, or they're unaware of the impact of their actions. This shift in perspective can significantly reduce the intensity of your anger. Another practical step is to focus on what you can control. Stoicism draws a firm line between what's within our control and what's not. You can't control other people's actions, the past, or the fact that certain things have already happened, but you can control your response, your thoughts, and your actions moving forward. Concentrating on these aspects reduces feelings of helplessness and frustration, which are often fuel for anger. Implementing calming techniques is also vital. Once you've paused and reflected, use techniques like deep breathing, counting to 10, or even stepping away from the situation if possible. These methods aren't just about cooling down. They're about giving your rational mind time to regain control from your emotions. Lastly, practice regular reflection. Stoicism isn't just about reacting well in the moment. It's also about preparing for future challenges. Regularly reflect on your day or your reactions to certain situations. What triggered your anger? How did you handle it? What could you do better next time? This ongoing practice builds your resilience and equips you with more effective strategies for managing anger. By integrating these steps into your daily life, you align more closely with Stoic principles, turning each burst of anger into an opportunity for personal growth and wisdom. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate anger entirely, but to master it in such a way that it no longer controls you. Each step you take is a step toward not just greater peace, but also deeper understanding and more effective living. let's take a deeper look at how we can put Stoicism into action, particularly when it comes to transforming our experiences of anger into opportunities for growth and reflection. Stoicism isn't just about handling anger passively, it's about actively converting it into something constructive. One of the most empowering Stoic principles is the concept of using every obstacle as a means to practice virtue. Anger, like any other obstacle, challenges us to practice patience, courage, and wisdom. When you feel anger rising, ask yourself, what is this anger teaching me? It could be showing you where your expectations might be unrealistic, or where you might need to develop greater empathy. For example, consider a situation at work where you feel repeatedly frustrated by a colleague's actions. Instead of letting this build into resentment or outbursts of anger, use this as a Stoic exercise. Each instance can be a moment to practice patience, to communicate your feelings constructively, or to reinforce your boundaries effectively. Here, anger becomes a signal, a cue that something needs your attention, perhaps a part of your own response mechanisms that you can refine and improve. Moreover, turning anger into opportunity means focusing not just on controlling outbursts, but also on cultivating an underlying serenity that comes from Stoic acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation, it means recognizing and adapting to things as they are. When you accept that certain things are beyond your control, like other people's actions or life's unpredictable events, you free yourself from the burden of trying to force things to be different. This acceptance can significantly alleviate feelings of anger. Another practical way to put Stoicism into action is through what Marcus Aurelius called turning the obstacle upside down. Every time you're faced with something that makes you angry, it's an opportunity to turn the situation on its head and extract something beneficial from it. This could mean learning to communicate more clearly, setting more realistic expectations, or even just understanding your own triggers more deeply. Each angry moment can be flipped to reveal a lesson or a stepping stone to better self-mastery. Stoic practice also involves reflecting on the impermanence of our emotions. Anger feels intense and all-consuming when it hits, but like everything else, it passes. Reminding yourself of this can help lessen the grip of anger. You can say to yourself, "This too shall pass," and focus on maintaining your composure in the moment, knowing that the intensity of your anger will diminish with time. Lastly, share these lessons with others. Stoicism teaches that wisdom is not just for personal benefit, but is something to be shared. By discussing how you turned an angry moment into a learning opportunity, you can help others see their challenges in a new light. This not only reinforces your own learning, but also extends the benefit beyond yourself, turning personal growth into communal wisdom. So, as we navigate through our days, let's try to view each anger-inducing incident as a chance to apply Stoic wisdom, to grow in virtue, and to contribute to a more rational, composed world. It's about seizing those moments of anger and transforming them into something that not only enhances our lives, but also the lives of those around us. Empowerment through Stoicism is about more than just managing our anger. It's about finding strength and resilience within ourselves that we might not have realized we possessed. When we talk about empowerment in Stoicism, we're talking about the power to lead our lives with a sense of purpose, peace, and perspective that remains stable no matter the external circumstances. Stoicism teaches us that true empowerment comes from within. It doesn't rely on external validation or circumstances. Instead, it builds on our ability to control our own responses to the world around us. Consider this. How often have you felt at the mercy of your emotions, tossed around by feelings of anger, frustration, or disappointment? Stoicism offers a different path. It invites us to step back and ask ourselves, can I choose a different response? Do I have the power to see this differently? And the answer more often than not is yes. This self-empowerment is realized through the Stoic practice of focusing on what is within our control. You can't control what others say or do. You can't control the past, and you certainly can't control the global events that impact your life. But you can control your thoughts, your actions, and your responses. When you internalize this, every moment of frustration or anger becomes an opportunity to practice this principle. You start to see challenges as chances to exercise your agency and autonomy. For instance, when you're faced with a difficult situation that stirs anger, Stoicism empowers you to choose a response that aligns with your values. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can respond with deliberation and integrity. This might mean taking a deep breath and deciding to address a conflict with calm words, or it might mean choosing to walk away from a situation that is not beneficial to engage with. Moreover, Stoicism empowers us by changing our relationship with our emotions. Instead of being overwhelmed by anger, we learn to recognize it as a natural response that we can observe, understand, and manage. This emotional intelligence does not just alter our interactions, it changes the way we lead our lives. We become more resilient as we're no longer derailed by every emotional upheaval, and more adaptable, capable of thriving in a variety of circumstances. Empowerment also comes from the Stoic practice of self-reflection. By regularly examining our choices, behaviors, and reactions, we gain deeper insights into our character and motivations. This reflective practice not only helps us make better decisions in the future, but also fosters a profound sense of self-awareness and self-acceptance. We learn to trust ourselves, to lean on our internal compass, rather than being swayed by every passing storm. And finally, empowerment through Stoicism is about contributing to the greater good. Stoicism teaches that we are part of a larger community and that our choices impact others. By choosing to respond to situations with reason and calm, we contribute to a more rational and peaceful world. We lead by example, showing others that it is possible to respond to life's challenges with grace and strength. In embracing Stoicism, we find a powerful ally in our quest for a fulfilled and balanced life. So as we continue on this journey, let's remind ourselves of the incredible strength that lies within us, ready to be harnessed through the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. It's not just about controlling anger. It's about unlocking a level of personal power and resilience that transforms all aspects of our lives. This isn't about suppressing what you feel. It's about understanding and directing your emotions in a way that's productive and healthy. Stoicism provides us with tools to not only confront our feelings, but to transform our entire approach to dealing with emotions, especially challenging ones like anger. Let's unpack this a bit. In Stoicism, one of the core principles is that our emotions are largely the result of our judgments and beliefs. When we feel angry, it's often because we've made a judgment about a situation or person, that they've wronged us, that an injustice has occurred, or that something should not be the way it is. Here lies a powerful opportunity. If we can change our judgments, we can change our emotional responses. To master our emotions, we start by examining these judgments critically. Ask yourself, why do I believe this situation is bad? Is it within my control? Can I look at this differently? This type of questioning is central to Stoic practice and fosters a kind of emotional agility that can be incredibly freeing. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, and you start to feel that familiar rise of frustration. A Stoic approach would encourage you to analyze that frustration. You might think, being angry won't clear the traffic. Can I use this time productively instead? Perhaps this is a good moment to listen to a podcast or an audiobook. Suddenly the situation hasn't changed, but your perception of it has, and so has your emotional state. This is where the concept of amor fati, or love of fate, comes into play. It's a Stoic mindset that invites you to embrace whatever happens as an opportunity. It's about more than just acceptance. It's a deep appreciation for life as it unfolds, even when it unfolds in unexpected ways. When you start to practice amor fati, you're not only managing your anger better, but you're also cultivating a profound peace that comes from the confidence that you can handle anything that comes your way. Moreover, mastering emotions with Stoicism means developing a strong sense of inner fortitude. Every time you choose not to lash out in anger, you strengthen your character. You start to build a reputation with yourself as someone who is dependable, stable, and calm. This internal trust is crucial. It's the foundation of self-esteem and personal integrity. And let's not forget the power of preparation. Stoics are big on preparing mentally for what might go wrong. This isn't pessimism, it's practical wisdom. By thinking ahead about how you might deal with potential frustrations or anger-inducing situations, you equip yourself with a toolkit for emotional management. When those moments arise, you're not caught off guard. You have a plan, and you have practices in place, like deep breathing, reframing your thoughts, or stepping back to gain perspective. Mastering your emotions with Stoicism isn't a quick fix. It's a lifelong journey of self-reflection, practice, and growth. It requires consistency, honesty with oneself, and the courage to face up to our emotions in a fundamentally different way. But the rewards are immense. Not only do you gain control over your anger and other emotions, but you also gain a serene and resilient spirit that can significantly enhance your quality of life. Every day, we carry invisible weights, habits that drag us down, cloud our minds, and distract us from the truly important things in life. It's time to let go of these burdens and embrace the clarity and focus that comes with a Stoic way of thinking. Let me take a moment to remind you that this journey we're on together is all about transformation. It's about growing, becoming the best version of ourselves, and breaking free from the habits, mindsets, and barriers that have been holding us back. And today, we're tackling a big one, a life-altering topic that can change the course of your future. We're going to explore 4 things you have to stop doing immediately. These aren't just simple mistakes, fleeting bad habits, or temporary setbacks. These are the subtle yet powerful forces that prevent you from reaching your full potential. They block your progress and prevent you from living the life you're capable of living. These habits, if you stop them today, will free you from your past and accelerate you toward your future. I know that each one of us has dreams, goals, and ambitions. Some of those dreams may feel so far out of reach, but I'm here to tell you, they're not. They're waiting for you to step into them. Today, we're going to uncover the 4 things that are keeping you from stepping fully into your power. As we dive into these transformative insights, remember, if you find value in peeling back these layers and discovering new paths to your personal best, hitting that subscribe button helps us bring more of this content to you. It's free, and it ensures you don't miss out on any part of this journey to empowerment. And don't skip any part of the video. Every second is designed to help you grow stronger, more focused, and resilient, just like the Stoics of old. Are you ready to make some significant changes? Let's get started and shed these 4 critical habits for a brighter, more fulfilling tomorrow. You might not realize it, but every time you let a shadow of doubt creep into your thoughts, you're stepping back from the life you're meant to lead. Doubt is sneaky. It's like that quiet voice at a party that keeps whispering, "You're not quite right. You don't really belong. You're just not good enough." But here's a Stoic truth for you. Doubt is only as powerful as the attention you give it. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and to let go of what we can't. Your thoughts? They're yours to shape. Think about the times when doubt has held you back from taking a chance. Maybe it stopped you from applying for that job, asking that question, or starting a new project. Now, imagine what could have unfolded if you had pushed past that doubt. It's all about perception. Stoics like Seneca and Epictetus weren't free from doubt because they were supremely confident. No, they learned to challenge the validity of their doubts and focus on their strengths. Let's break it down. Self-doubt often comes from our fear of failure, of not meeting expectations, ours or someone else's. But what if you viewed potential failure not as a setback, but as a step forward? After all, every attempt, successful or not, teaches us something vital. It's about learning to trust the process, embracing each experience as a part of your growth. Think of doubt as a signal, not a stop sign. It's telling you where you need to focus, where there's room to expand and improve. Now, consider the idea that you are the writer of your own life script. Each time doubt starts scripting stories of fear and failure, grab that pen and rewrite it with stories of strength and resilience. Remember, no great story is complete without challenges, without moments where the hero could have turned back. Yet, it's not the doubts they faced that define their stories, but their decision to keep going despite them. Another Stoic practice to help manage doubt involves preparation and reflection. At the end of each day, take a moment to reflect on your actions and thoughts. Where did doubt creep in? How did you handle it? Could you have managed it differently? This reflection isn't about judging yourself harshly, but about preparing better for future encounters with doubt. The Stoics were big on journaling, using it as a tool to reflect and gain clarity. This doesn't have to be a lengthy process. A few minutes each day can provide profound insights. And while we're discussing insights, let's not overlook the power of visualization, a technique used by Stoics and modern achievers alike. When doubt tells you that you can't, take a moment to visualize yourself succeeding. Picture the steps you'll take, the obstacles you'll overcome, and the success waiting on the other side. Visualization isn't just daydreaming, it's a rehearsal for reality, a way to condition your mind to act beyond doubt. Finally, remember that overcoming doubt is not about never feeling it. That's nearly impossible. It's about not letting it control you. It's about acknowledging its presence, nodding politely, and then moving forward with your actions aligned with your values and goals. Every time you choose action over doubt, you're not just moving closer to your goals, you're also strengthening your stoic resolve, building a mindset geared toward growth and resilience. So, next time you hear that whisper of doubt, recognize it for what it is, an old habit, not a truth. Challenge it with your new habit of resilience, armed with stoic wisdom, and watch as you transform not only your actions, but your outcomes. Doubt has only the power to stop you if you let it. Instead, let it be the reason you move forward with more determination, equipped with the wisdom of the Stoics to guide your path. It's incredibly easy to fall into the trap of looking at others and feeling like you're not measuring up. Scroll through any social media platform for a few minutes, and you might find yourself feeling as though everyone else's life is more exciting, more successful, or simply happier than yours. But here's something crucial to remember. What you're seeing is a curated display, not the full story. This comparison game is not just misleading, it's harmful. It skews our perception of our own lives and can make us feel inadequate without just cause. Stoicism teaches us a valuable lesson here. Focus on what affects your own progress and virtues, not the apparent successes of others. Imagine if Marcus Aurelius, Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, had wasted his time comparing his reign or philosophical writings to those of his predecessors or neighboring rulers. Instead, he focused on his own duties and the wisdom he could cultivate from his experiences. By centering on our own journey, we embrace the Stoic principle of controlling only what is within our power, our actions, reactions, and personal growth. When you catch yourself comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel, try to redirect that energy. Think about your own achievements and the obstacles you've overcome. Each person's life is a complex tapestry of experiences, challenges, and triumphs. By comparing, we reduce this rich complexity to a simple, often inaccurate scoreboard. More importantly, we risk overshadowing our own experiences and undervaluing our unique paths. Moreover, Stoicism encourages us to use comparison, if at all, only as a tool for self-improvement, not as a measure of self-worth. For instance, instead of feeling envious of a friend's new job, use that moment to reflect on your own career goals and the steps you can take to achieve them. This turns a potentially negative comparison into a constructive plan for personal progress. It's about transforming envy into inspiration. Reflect on this. The only true comparison that brings value is the one you make with yourself. Where you were yesterday versus where you are today. Are you kinder, more knowledgeable, or more disciplined? This self-reflection is fundamental in Stoicism. It keeps you grounded in your own progress and focused on what truly matters. Your own development and contentment. Another practical step to lessen the habit of comparing yourself to others is to limit your exposure to the sources of comparison. If social media makes you feel inadequate, adjust how you use it. Follow accounts that inspire and teach rather than those that spark envy. Use these platforms to connect and learn rather than to assess your self-worth. Remember also the Stoic practice of negative visualization. It's about imagining the worst-case scenarios to appreciate what you have. This doesn't mean dwelling on the negative, but rather using it to cultivate gratitude for your present situation. It's a powerful antidote to the dissatisfaction bred by comparison. When you feel thankful for what you have, the achievements of others seem less like a threat and more like shared human potential. Breaking the habit of comparing yourself to others isn't about ignoring the success of those around you. It's about reshaping how you perceive and react to that information. It's about fostering a mindset that values personal growth and inner peace over external validation. This way, you not only adhere to Stoic wisdom, but also create a more fulfilling and contented life for yourself. Remember, in the grand narrative of your life, the only character you're truly responsible for is you. How you develop that character, how you enrich your own story. That's where your focus should be. Carrying the past around is like dragging a suitcase filled with old books you'll never read again. It's heavy, it's exhausting, and it doesn't serve you one bit. We've all got that suitcase. Inside, you'll find our mistakes, our regrets, and those moments when things just didn't go the way we hoped. Now, imagine setting that suitcase down for good. Feels freeing, right? That's what we're talking about today. Letting go of those past burdens to make room for a brighter, lighter future. Stoicism offers a robust framework for dealing with the past. Stoics emphasize living in the present because that's all we truly have control over. The past? It's done. You can't change it, but you can change your perspective on it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Look back over the past with its changing empires that rose and fell, and you can foresee the future too." What he's suggesting isn't that we dwell on the past, but that we learn from it and then move on, applying those lessons to live better today. Reflecting on the past is only useful to the extent that it teaches us. Beyond that, dwelling on old failures or missed opportunities is a trap. It saps your energy, focusing your mind on scenarios that no longer exist, except in your thoughts. So how do we stop living in the past? Start by acknowledging it. Recognize the things that happened, understand the emotions they stir up, and then practice letting them go. This could be as simple as saying to yourself, "Yes, that happened. It hurt, but I am no longer in that moment. I am here now." Another Stoic practice that can help is the discipline of assent, which involves consciously choosing which thoughts to accept and which to reject. When a thought about the past arises, assess it. Is this thought helpful? Does it improve my well-being? If not, you have the power to reject it. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. Rather, it means not allowing them to control you. It's about taking a moment to say, "This is how I felt, but I choose not to hold on to it." Furthermore, transform how you interact with memories. Instead of replaying a regretful scenario over and over, try to view it through a lens of growth. Ask yourself, what did this experience teach me? Whether it's resilience, compassion, or a newfound understanding of your limits, there's always something valuable to be gained. This shift in perspective turns a previously negative memory into a stepping stone for personal development. Lastly, engage in mindfulness and meditation, both key components of Stoic practice. These techniques ground you in the present and help dissolve the emotional weight of the past. Mindfulness teaches you to experience life as it happens and to appreciate the now without the shadow of yesterday. It's about noticing the world around you, your reactions, your feelings, and accepting them without judgment. To truly embrace the present and prepare for the future, it's essential to let go of what's behind you. Remember, every moment spent ruminating over the past is a moment lost from your present. So cut that baggage loose. Practice these Stoic principles to center yourself in the now, and you'll find that life becomes a lot lighter. The past doesn't have to define you. You're defined by how you live now, how you react now, and how you prepare for what's next. So, set down that old, heavy suitcase. Your journey ahead requires nothing from it. Have you ever found yourself saying, "I'll start tomorrow," but when tomorrow comes, you say it again? That loop, my friend, is one of life's trickiest ruts to escape. Procrastination isn't just about laziness or poor time management. It's about emotions battling against our intentions. It's the fear of failure, the dread of stepping out of comfort zones, or maybe even the fear of success that holds us back. But here's a thought inspired by Stoicism. What if we didn't wait for the perfect moment to act? What if we started embracing action as the path to clarity? The Stoics taught that it's not events themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about the events. With procrastination, it's often our judgments about the task at hand that hold us back, thinking it's too difficult, too time-consuming, or maybe not worth the effort at all. But what if we could shift that perspective? What if we viewed each action as a necessary step toward virtue, toward becoming our best selves? To tackle procrastination, begin by breaking down your goals into smaller, more manageable tasks. This is a classic Stoic approach to overcoming overwhelming feelings. Just as Marcus Aurelius advised, the task of a philosopher to piece together our natural constitution. Apply this to your goals. Want to write a book? Start by writing a page. Need to organize your home? Start with one drawer. The key is to make the first step so small that it isn't intimidating, almost trivial. Then there's the Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, which involves visualizing the negative outcomes of not acting. Imagine the consequences if you continue to procrastinate. How might it affect your personal growth, your career, or even your relationships? This visualization isn't meant to scare you, but to inject a dose of reality into your planning process. It's about using foresight to fuel your motivation rather than your fears. Furthermore, Stoicism doesn't just ask you to contemplate the bad, it also encourages you to reflect on the benefits of taking action. Each small step you take is progress, and progress is invigorating and self-reinforcing. Once you start and see the benefits of your actions, it becomes easier to keep going. Remember, in the words of Seneca, begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life. This approach transforms seemingly mundane tasks into vital parts of your daily life's philosophy. Moreover, consider the Stoic concept of the inner citadel, a fortress within us that remains impervious to externals and our emotional responses to them. When you feel overwhelmed by what you need to do, retreat into your inner citadel. From this place of strength, you can assess tasks with calmness and clarity, free from the paralyzing effects of overthinking and emotional turbulence. Finally, embrace the Stoic ethos of amor fati, love of fate. This doesn't mean being passive or resigning yourself to whatever happens. Rather, it's about loving what you do and doing what you love wholeheartedly. When you start to align your actions with your values, procrastination becomes less of an issue because you're no longer acting out of obligation, but out of genuine desire. So let's challenge ourselves to turn "I'll do it tomorrow" into "I'm doing it now." Because in each moment of action, you're not just ticking off a task, you're building a life. Each step, no matter how small, is a step toward becoming the person you aspire to be. It's about making the most of the now, because now is all we truly have, and now is always the right time to begin. And there we have it. 4 monumental shifts that can truly transform the way you lead your life. It's all about stepping away from those old habits that no longer serve you and embracing new ways that propel you toward a more fulfilling, more purposeful existence. Whether it's silencing the whispers of self-doubt, stopping the endless comparisons to others, releasing the heavy chains of the past, or kicking procrastination to the curb, each step you take is a powerful act of self-liberation. I want you to think of today's discussion not just as a set of instructions, but as a conversation among friends striving for betterment. We're in this together, each of us working on becoming the best versions of ourselves, one day at a time. And remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey filled with small, steady steps forward, sometimes accompanied by steps back. And that's perfectly okay. And I'd love to hear from you. What's the one habit you're committed to changing after today's talk? Drop a comment below. Let's start a conversation. Your insights not only enrich our community, but also reinforce your own commitment to change. It's all about taking those thoughts and turning them into actions. So, as we wrap up today, I want you to carry forward this spirit of reflection and action. Embrace the wisdom of today's discussion, apply it, and watch as your life begins to align more closely with your values and aspirations. Remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being better than you were yesterday. Until next time, stay motivated, stay inspired, and as always, keep moving forward. Life's most challenging truth is often this: the only barrier between where you are and where you want to be is your decision to rise. It's not luck, It's not perfect timing, and it's not even raw talent. It's you, right here, right now, choosing to believe you're capable of more. This isn't about waiting for the stars to align or for life to hand you an opportunity. The Stoics knew better. Epictetus taught that while we can't control external events, we always control how we respond to them. And today, we're focusing on one of the most transformative responses you can have, the decision to act as if you're the best. Let's be honest, doubt is universal. That nagging voice whispering you're not ready, not qualified, not enough. But what if you didn't need to wait until you felt ready? What if the secret to becoming the best was deciding to carry yourself like you already are? The truth is, progress isn't made by waiting for the perfect moment. It's made by stepping forward with confidence and intent, even when the path ahead feels uncertain. Marcus Aurelius, in his daily reflections, reminded himself to focus on his own actions and to embody virtue in all circumstances. That's what we're diving into today, the mindset shift that can reshape how you face challenges, pursue goals, and live your life. This isn't about arrogance or pretending to be something you're not. It's about unlocking your full potential by embracing the power you already have. If this resonates with you, I have a small favor to ask. Hit the subscribe button. It's free, and it helps us bring more of this content to people like you. Now let's get started. 1. The power of deciding to be the best. The moment you decide to live up to your full potential is the moment your life starts to change. It's not about waiting for the right opportunity or hoping for external circumstances to improve. It's about making an internal decision, a decision to show up every day as the best version of yourself. This idea echoes the teachings of the Stoics, who believe that our true power lies in how we choose to approach life. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The decision to be the best begins with that mindset. This mindset isn't about being perfect or better than others. It's about setting a standard for yourself and committing to continuous growth. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful emperors in history, constantly reminded himself to act with virtue, not for glory or praise, but because it was the right thing to do. He believed that every day was an opportunity to strive for excellence, not in competition with others, but in competition with his own potential. When you decide to be the best, you're not saying you'll never make mistakes or face challenges. The Stoics were clear that life is full of obstacles, but they also believed that these obstacles are what shape us. By deciding to be the best, you choose to face those challenges head-on, using them as opportunities to grow stronger and wiser. This is where your life starts to transform. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about making the choice now, in this moment, to act with purpose and confidence. From this decision, everything else flows. You raise your standards, your actions align with your goals, and you begin to move closer to the person you know you can be. That's the power of deciding to be the best. 2. What if I'm not the best? Some of you might be thinking, but I'm not the best. I'm nowhere close. How can I act as if I am? And that's completely understandable. It's natural to feel like you're not at the top. But here's the thing. You don't have to be the best to act like the best. The beauty of this mindset is that it works even when you're not at the top. Acting as if you're the best doesn't mean pretending or being delusional. It's about shifting your mindset to unlock your full potential, and that starts with how you view yourself. This aligns perfectly with Stoicism. The Stoics believed that we have control over our mindset and how we respond to life's challenges. So, even if you're not the best right now, you can still choose to carry yourself with confidence, discipline, and purpose, traits that the best exemplify. When you act as if you're the best, something powerful starts to happen. You begin to believe it, and when you believe it, you start to become it. This isn't some magical thinking or false confidence. It's a proven psychological shift that affects your actions. The Stoics taught us that our beliefs shape our behaviors. When we act as if we are capable and competent, we become more so. This is a self-fulfilling prophecy. a concept the Stoics were well aware of. Take a job interview, for example. If you walk in nervous, doubting yourself, and thinking you're not good enough, you're likely going to perform poorly. But if you walk in with the mindset that you are the best person for the job, carrying yourself with confidence, speaking clearly about your skills, and believing in your value, that changes everything. Even if you don't get the job, that shift in mindset prepares you for the next opportunity. You've practiced confidence and build resilience, which will serve you moving forward. So, when you say to yourself, "I'm not the best," the Stoics would remind you, that's not the point. The point is to act as if you are. By doing so, you align your actions with the person you want to become, and your ability to control your life will improve. So, the goal isn't to be perfect, but to continuously strive for excellence, always improving, just as Stoic philosophy teaches us. 3. Why acting like you're the best matters. When I say act as if you are the best, I don't mean strutting around like you're better than everyone else. Far from it. Acting like you're the best isn't about looking down on others or becoming arrogant. It's about holding yourself to the highest possible standard and striving for excellence, not for external validation, but for your own growth. So when I say act as if you're the best, I'm talking about adopting the mindset of someone who is already at the top of their game. This is the kind of mindset we're after. Acting like you're the best isn't about pretending to know everything or never making mistakes. It's about showing up with the belief that you are fully capable of handling whatever comes your way. This belief shapes your actions. When you believe you're the best, you act like it. You carry yourself with confidence, and people notice. The Stoics would remind us that this confidence isn't external, it's internal. It comes from knowing that you're living in alignment with your values and doing your best in every situation. The key difference here is that arrogance seeks to elevate you above others, but acting like you're the best is about lifting yourself up to your own highest potential. It's about striving for excellence while staying humble and grounded, just like the Stoics taught. You're not aiming for perfection, but for progress, always working on yourself, always learning, and always moving forward. Or practice makes reality. When you hear the phrase, act as if you're the best, it might feel like pretending at first, and maybe, in a sense, it is. But here's the truth. What you consistently practice becomes your reality. The Stoics understood this well. Seneca famously said, "We become what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. This means that the more you practice something, whether it's confidence, discipline, or resilience, the more it becomes part of who you are. Let's break this down. When you start acting as if you're the best, it might feel unnatural. You might think, who am I to carry myself with such confidence? But the beauty of human nature is that we are incredibly adaptable. The Stoics believed that we are shaped by our thoughts and actions. If you consistently act with confidence, you start to feel more confident. If you make disciplined choices in your life, over time, you become more disciplined. While away the summer, it's not about faking it forever. It's about practicing the qualities you want to embody until they become second nature. Think of it like building a muscle. At first, lifting weights feels hard, even uncomfortable, but as you keep practicing, your strength grows. Acting as if you're the best works the same way. Each time you practice it, you reinforce that mindset, and eventually it becomes less of an act and more of a habit. The Stoics understood this process. Epictetus often reminded his students that we have control over how we respond to the world. By practicing virtuous actions, we align our inner selves with the kind of person we want to become. Let's say you want to become more confident in social situations. At first, you might feel awkward, like you're putting on a show. But the more you practice standing tall, speaking clearly, and engaging with others, the more you begin to feel that confidence. Eventually, it stops feeling like an act, and you realize that you've actually become more comfortable in these situations. The same goes for any area of life. If you practice making healthy choices, over time you become someone who naturally lives a healthier lifestyle. If you practice managing your finances well, you eventually become someone who is financially secure. The Stoic idea of practicing virtue teaches us that we don't have to wait for change to happen. We can create it through our daily actions. The key is consistency. It's not about doing it once and expecting a transformation. It's about showing up every day and practicing the qualities that align with your highest potential. Over time, what started as practice becomes your reality. You become the best version of yourself by repeatedly acting like it. As the Stoics taught, your actions shape your character, and your character shapes your life. So, keep practicing because your reality is being built by what you do each day. 5. Continuous growth. The Stoics believed in the importance of continuous growth, and that's exactly what this mindset is all about. Acting as if you're the best doesn't mean you think you've reached perfection or that you can stop improving. In fact, it's the opposite. It's about committing to a life of constant learning, discipline, and refinement. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." This means that no matter how good you become, there's always room for growth. The best people in any field, whether it's a skilled athlete, a successful business person, or a wise philosopher, never stop improving. They remain students of life. When you act as if you're the best, you're committing to this same process of mastery. You're saying, "I'm going to carry myself like the best, and I'm going to put in the work to become the best." This mindset is rooted in humility, not arrogance. The Stoics valued humility deeply. Marcus Aurelius, despite being one of the most powerful men in the world, constantly reminded himself to stay grounded and continue improving. He didn't see his position as the end of the road, but as a responsibility to strive for personal excellence every day. When you adopt this mindset, you're doing the same. You're striving to be better today than you were yesterday, knowing that growth is a lifelong pursuit. Acting as if you're the best means raising your own standards. It means taking responsibility for your personal development in every area of life. In your relationships, for example, it's about asking yourself, what would the best version of me do? How would the best partner, the best friend, or the best parent behave? It's not about pretending to be perfect, but about continuously working to improve and show up as the best version of yourself. It's about continuously working to improve and show up as the best version of yourself. In your health, it means acting as if you're in the best shape of your life. How would you treat your body if you believed you were capable of achieving peak health? What choices would you make in terms of your diet, exercise, and habits? The Stoic path is one of self-discipline and making intentional choices that lead to long-term well-being. 6. Facing weakness. Embracing your shortcomings. When we talk about acting as if you're the best, it's easy to think it means ignoring your flaws or pretending they don't exist. But in reality, it's the opposite. Acting like you're the best means having the courage to face your weaknesses head-on and use them as opportunities for growth. The Stoics were masters at this. They taught that self-awareness and honest reflection are essential for improvement. Healthy, as Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. By the time of his death, Marcus Aurelius had become part of that power is understanding where we fall short. Not to feel ashamed, but to learn and grow. The best people in any field aren't those who believe they're flawless. They are the ones who understand their shortcomings better than anyone else. But they don't let those shortcomings define them. Instead, they use them as motivation to keep improving. The Stoics believed in embracing challenges and discomfort as part of life's natural course. Epictetus reminded us that the path to mastery requires us to face obstacles with resilience. When we see our weaknesses clearly, we can approach them with a mindset of progress. Think about it this way. If you ignore your weaknesses, they don't go away. In fact, they tend to grow bigger and more disruptive over time. But if you acknowledge them and take steps to improve, you become stronger. The Stoics didn't see weakness as failure. They saw it as an opportunity to practice arete, which means striving for excellence. When you face your weaknesses, you're giving yourself the chance to become better, more disciplined, and more capable. This process requires humility. Acting like you're the best doesn't mean you think you're perfect. It means you're committed to continuous growth. You can be confident in your strengths while being fully aware of where you need to improve. The Stoics, especially Seneca, often wrote about the importance of learning from every experience, even failures. In fact, Seneca believed that failure and setbacks are often our greatest teachers. They reveal where we need to grow and push us to develop the skills or mindset we might lack. The key is to see your weaknesses not as something to be ashamed of, but as a natural part of your development. By facing them with honesty and a desire to improve, you take control of your growth. This is where true strength lies, in the ability to confront what's holding you back and work to overcome it. And the Stoic approach is to view life's challenges, including your own shortcomings, as fuel for becoming a better, more resilient person. When you act as if you're the best, you're not pretending to be perfect. Instead, you're showing that you have the strength to face your weaknesses, learn from them, and grow into the person you aspire to be. This mindset will carry you forward, just as it did for the Stoics, who embraced their flaws, learned from them, and continued on their path toward excellence. Learning graces rather than self-complicity. 7. Elevate those around you. When you act as if you're the best, it's not just about improving your own life. It's about raising the bar for everyone around you. The Stoics believed in the concept of sympathia, the idea that we are all connected and that our actions impact the whole. When you strive for excellence, you inspire others to do the same. Your confidence, discipline, and commitment to growth naturally elevate the people you interact with, whether it's in your family, your friendships, or your workplace. Think about how it feels to be around someone who carries themselves with purpose and clarity. Their energy is contagious. They don't need to say it, but their actions, their presence, show others what's possible. This is how you can influence others, by leading by example. When you act as if you're the best, you become a source of inspiration for those who might be struggling with self-doubt or uncertainty. You show them that it's possible to rise above challenges by adopting the right mindset and staying focused on what truly matters. The Stoics were not concerned with competition in the way we often think of it today. They believed in helping others achieve virtue and wisdom. When you raise your standards and strive for excellence, you're not just lifting yourself. You're creating an environment where those around you feel encouraged to rise with you. Acting as if you're the best means embodying qualities that others respect and want to emulate. By doing this, you not only improve your own life but also contribute to the growth and success of the people in your circle. It's a ripple effect of positive change, just as the Stoics would have intended. 8. How to handle failure. Failure is something we all face, and the Stoics understood this deeply. They taught that failure is not something to be feared, but rather an inevitable part of life's journey. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the path toward it. When you act as if you're the best, it doesn't mean you believe you'll never fail. It means you approach failure with resilience, knowing that every setback is an opportunity to learn and grow. The Stoics believed in focusing on what you can control. You can't always control the outcome, but you can control how you respond to failure. Instead of seeing failure as a personal defeat, see it as feedback, a lesson on what didn't work and how you can improve. Epictetus reminded his students that we should accept failure as part of life and use it to build our character. Failure isn't a reason to give up, but a reason to keep going, armed with more knowledge and experience. When you face failure with the Stoic mindset, you stop seeing it as something to avoid. Instead, you embrace it as a chance to practice perseverance and adaptability. The best people in any field, whether in business, sports, or philosophy, aren't those who never fail, but those who know how to bounce back stronger each time. As the Stoics taught, our true strength comes from how we rise after we fall. So the next time you fail, remember that it's not the end of the story. It's a crucial step on your journey to greatness. Acting as if you're the best isn't a one-time thing. It's a daily practice. The Stoics believed in the importance of consistent, deliberate action. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, urged himself to approach each day with purpose and intention. He wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." Second sermon. This practice of showing up every day with the commitment to excellence is how you move closer to becoming the best version of yourself. The beauty of this mindset is that you don't need to wait until you feel ready. The Stoics knew that waiting for the perfect moment often leads to inaction. Instead, they taught us to start where we are, with what we have. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. By acting as if you're the best each day, you're practicing the qualities that will eventually define you. Over time, what started as a conscious effort becomes part of your character. Life will test you. You will face setbacks, disappointments, and moments where you feel like everything is against you. That's a guarantee. But here's the real question. How do you respond? Do you let life break you, or do you use those challenges to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient? Mentally strong people don't crumble under pressure. They don't allow fear, doubt, or negativity to control them. Instead, they build a mindset that allows them to face anything with clarity, confidence, and inner peace. This isn't about pretending life is easy. It's about mastering yourself so that no matter what happens, you remain unshaken. The ancient Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man of his time, wrote to himself every day, reminding himself that life is unpredictable, that hardships are inevitable, but that his response was always within his control. He knew that true strength doesn't come from avoiding difficulties, but from training your mind to rise above them. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. The 6 habits that separate the mentally strong from everyone else. These aren't just theories, they're practical, battle-tested principles that you can start applying today to build an unshakable mindset. So stay with me until the very end, because every single point we're about to discuss is crucial. Don't skip around or you'll miss the key that could change everything for you. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, there's one simple free favor I'll ask. Hit that subscribe button. It takes a second, but it makes a huge difference in helping us keep bringing you valuable content. Now, let's dive in. Nothing in life stays the same. The seasons change, people come and go, and the world keeps moving, whether we're ready for it or not. Yet so many of us resist change as if clinging to what's familiar will somehow stop the inevitable. But let me ask you this. Has holding on ever made life easier, or has it only made transitions more painful? We fear change because it forces us out of our comfort zones. It disrupts our routines, shakes our sense of control, and makes us question where we're headed. But here's the truth. Change is not the enemy. The real danger lies in resisting it, because the more you fight against reality, the more suffering you create for yourself. The ancient Stoics understood this well. They didn't waste energy wishing things were different. Instead, they trained themselves to adapt, to see every shift in life as an opportunity rather than a threat. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, ruled an empire during war, plague, and betrayal. He could have spent his days complaining, asking, "Why is this happening to me?" But instead, he reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, the very obstacles we fear are often the path forward. If we learn to work with change instead of against it, we become stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling whatever life throws at us. Think about it. When has something unexpected forced you to grow? Maybe it was losing a job, ending a relationship, or moving to a new place. At first, it probably felt overwhelming, even painful, but looking back, didn't it also shape you into who you are today? The problem is, we only see the wisdom in change after we've survived it. But what if we could shift our mindset while we're going through it? What if instead of resisting, we asked ourselves, what is this teaching me? How can I use this to my advantage? The Stoics had a saying, amor fati, which means love your fate. Not just accept it, not just tolerate it, love it. Love the challenges, love the unexpected detours, love the things that push you to grow, even when they don't feel good in the moment. Because every change, no matter how difficult, is shaping you into someone stronger. And here's the key, mentally strong people lean into discomfort. They don't wait for perfect conditions to take action. They don't waste energy wishing things would go back to the way they were. They adapt. They adjust their sails to the winds of change instead of fighting the current, and in doing so, they remain steady no matter how stormy life gets. So, the next time change comes knocking, and it will, pause for a moment. Instead of reacting with fear, ask yourself, how can I use this? Because when you stop resisting change, you start mastering it. And that's the mindset that will carry you through anything. You've probably had moments where your emotions got the best of you, where anger led to an argument you later regretted, or fear held you back from taking an opportunity that could have changed your life. We've all been there. Emotions are powerful, and when left unchecked, they can control our actions, dictate our decisions, and even shape the course of our lives. But here's the thing. Mentally strong people don't let their emotions control them. They control their emotions. Now, that doesn't mean they suppress what they feel. Stoicism isn't about becoming an emotionless robot. It's about mastering your reactions. The Stoics understood that emotions in themselves aren't the problem. It's our response to them that determines whether they serve us or destroy us. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Think about the last time someone said something that irritated you. Maybe a rude comment, an unfair criticism, or even just someone cutting you off in traffic. What was your first instinct? To react immediately? To lash out? That's what most people do. But what if instead you paused for a second and asked yourself, is this worth my energy? Will this matter tomorrow? That small pause, that moment of awareness, is the difference between being ruled by your emotions and mastering them. Seneca, another great Stoic, advised that when anger rises, don't act on it right away. Give it time to settle. Because in the heat of the moment, we often make choices that we later regret. And isn't that true? How many times have we said or done something in an emotional state, only to look back and wish we had handled it differently? The truth is, emotions are like the weather, unpredictable, constantly changing, and often beyond our control. But just like a sailor doesn't try to control the wind, we shouldn't try to suppress our emotions. Instead, we should learn to navigate them. A skilled sailor adjusts their sails, knowing that the storm will pass. And in the same way, mentally strong people acknowledge their emotions, but refuse to let them steer the ship. Now, does this mean we should ignore how we feel? Not at all. The Stoics weren't about denying emotions, but rather understanding them. When fear shows up, ask, what is this fear trying to tell me? When sadness appears, ask, what lesson is hidden here? Emotions can be teachers if we learn to listen without letting them take over. And here's where it gets really powerful. Once you realize that you decide how to respond, nothing can shake you. Insults lose their sting. Failures become stepping stones. Unexpected events no longer throw you off balance because you understand that your power lies in your reaction, not in the event itself. So the next time you feel anger, fear, or frustration rising, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that you are in control. Your emotions do not define you. Your actions do. And the stronger your ability to manage your emotions, the stronger you become in every aspect of life. Your time and energy are your most valuable resources, yet they're also the easiest to give away. Every day, people pull you in different directions. Work demands your attention. Friends ask for favors, family needs your support, and social media constantly fights for a piece of your mind. Before you know it, you're exhausted, stretched thin, and left with nothing for yourself. But here's the truth. Mentally strong people don't let the world dictate where their energy goes. They set boundaries and protect their space like their life depends on it, because in many ways it does. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that our most precious asset isn't money or possessions, it's our inner peace. And yet, most of us give it away without thinking twice. Seneca warned against this when he said, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." Think about that for a moment. If someone tried to take money from your pocket, you'd resist. But when people take your time, your most irreplaceable asset, you give it away freely. Why? Maybe it's guilt, maybe it's fear of disappointing others, maybe it's the habit of always putting others first. But here's the thing, saying yes to everyone else all the time means saying no to yourself, and mentally strong people don't do that. They understand that without clear boundaries, they'll never have the time or energy to focus on what truly matters, whether that's their goals, their health, or their peace of mind. So, how do you start setting boundaries? First, recognize that it's not selfish, it's necessary. Saying no to something that drains you doesn't mean you don't care. It means you value yourself enough to protect your well-being. You wouldn't let someone walk into your home and trash the place, so why let people invade your mental space with negativity, unnecessary obligations, or constant distractions? One of the biggest misconceptions about boundaries is that they push people away. But in reality, the right people respect boundaries. The ones who don't, they were never meant to have full access to you in the first place. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, the people and energy you allow into your life shape who you become. If you surround yourself with constant stress, drama, and obligations that don't serve you, don't be surprised if you feel drained, anxious, or lost. Now let's talk about practical ways to set boundaries. First, identify what truly matters to you. What are your priorities? What fuels your energy instead of depleting it? Once you're clear on that, it becomes easier to say no to everything that doesn't align with those values. Next, practice the art of saying no without over-explaining. You don't owe anyone a detailed justification for protecting your time. A simple, "I can't commit to that right now" is enough. And most importantly, don't feel guilty. Protecting your energy isn't an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-respect. If you don't prioritize yourself, no one else will do it for you. At the end of the day, setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about making sure you have enough energy for what truly matters. When you stop saying yes to every demand and start saying yes to yourself, you'll notice something incredible. You feel lighter, more focused, and in control of your life. And that, my friend, is the foundation of true mental strength. Life doesn't always go the way we want. We face setbacks, make mistakes, and sometimes find ourselves in situations that feel unfair. It's easy to blame circumstances, point fingers, or tell ourselves that we're just unlucky. But here's the hard truth. Mentally strong people don't waste time making excuses. They take full responsibility for their actions, their choices, and ultimately their lives. The Stoics believed that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. Epictetus put it best when he said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." That's what real strength looks like. Owning your decisions, learning from your mistakes, and refusing to see yourself as a victim of life's circumstance. Think about the most successful, resilient people you know. Do they sit around complaining about how unfair life is, or do they take action, adjust, and find a way forward? The difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck isn't intelligence, talent, or luck, it's responsibility. When you own your actions, you take back your power. When you blame others, you give that power away. Now, taking responsibility doesn't mean being overly critical of yourself or beating yourself up for past mistakes. That's not the point. The goal isn't to drown in guilt, it's to learn and improve. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, believed that every failure was an opportunity for self-reflection. He advised that at the end of each day we should review our actions and ask, what did I do well? What could I have done better? What will I improve tomorrow? That's how you grow, not by avoiding mistakes, but by using them as stepping stones. Here's a simple but powerful exercise. Think of a challenge you're facing right now. Maybe it's a financial issue, a relationship struggle, or a personal goal you haven't achieved yet. Instead of blaming external factors, ask yourself, what part of this is within my control? What actions can I take to improve this situation? It's a shift in mindset that changes everything. The truth is, life will throw obstacles your way. You'll face difficult people, unexpected problems, and moments where things feel unfair. But the strongest people, the ones who truly thrive, are the ones who don't waste energy complaining. They adapt. They take ownership. They look at every setback as a lesson, not a punishment. So the next time you catch yourself making an excuse, pause. Ask yourself, is this helping me or is it holding me back? Because at the end of the day, no one else is responsible for your success, your happiness, or your growth. That's on you. And once you fully embrace that truth, you become unstoppable. We are often our own worst critics. When we make a mistake, fall short of our goals, or struggle with something, the voice inside our head can be ruthless. Why did I mess up again? I should be doing better. I'll never get this right. If someone spoke to us the way we sometimes speak to ourselves, we wouldn't tolerate it. Yet, for some reason we allow that harsh inner dialogue to run unchecked. But here's the truth. Mentally strong people don't tear themselves down. They practice self-compassion, not self-criticism. The Stoics had a deep understanding of human imperfection. They didn't expect themselves or anyone else to be flawless. Instead, they focused on progress, on learning, on growing, on improving. Marcus Aurelius, in Meditations, reminded himself, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." That's a powerful shift in perspective. Instead of dwelling on past mistakes, the Stoics encourage people to wake up each day with a renewed sense of purpose and self-acceptance. Think about this. When a friend makes a mistake, what do you say? You probably encourage them, remind them that they are human, and tell them to learn from it and move forward. Now, why don't we do the same for ourselves? Why do we hold ourselves to impossible standards, expecting perfection while accepting the flaws of others? Self-compassion isn't about making excuses. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a close friend. Let's be real. You will make mistakes. You will have days where you feel like you're failing, where nothing seems to go right. But beating yourself up over it doesn't make you better. It makes you hesitant, fearful, and doubtful of your own abilities. The Stoics believed that the mind is like a garden. What you plant is what grows. If you constantly feed it negative thoughts, don't be surprised when self-doubt takes over. But if you practice self-compassion, you create an environment where resilience, confidence, and self-respect can flourish. So, how do you start? First, pay attention to your inner dialogue. When you catch yourself in negative self-talk, stop. Ask yourself, would I say this to someone I care about? If the answer is no, then why say it to yourself? Second, learn from your mistakes instead of dwelling on them. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Every challenge, every failure is shaping you into a stronger version of yourself. Finally, remind yourself that growth takes time. You don't become wise overnight. You don't develop resilience in a day. Progress is slow, and that's okay. As long as you're moving forward, you're on the right path. The next time you feel tempted to criticize yourself, take a deep breath and reframe it. Instead of "I should have done better," try "I'm learning and improving." Instead of "I always mess up," try "This is a setback, not a defeat." That small shift in language makes a world of difference. At the end of the day, the strongest people aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who fall, get up, and keep moving without tearing themselves down in the process. That's the real power of self-compassion. There is no finish line when it comes to growth. The moment you think you know everything, the moment you believe you've reached your peak, that's when you start to decline. Life is always moving, always changing, and those who refuse to learn, adapt, and evolve will eventually find themselves stuck, watching as the world passes them by. But mentally strong people understand something crucial. Growth is a lifelong process. There is no point at which you arrive. You keep learning, keep improving, keep refining yourself until your very last breath. The Stoics embodied this mindset. Marcus Aurelius, despite being the most powerful man in the world, never saw himself as above learning. Every day he read, wrote, and reflected, reminding himself of his own limitations and the vastness of what he didn't know. He once wrote, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, challenges, failures, and even setbacks are all opportunities to grow. But you have to be willing to learn from them. Many people think learning stops after school or after they reach a certain level of success. But the truth is, your ability to keep growing determines how far you go in life. The moment you stop challenging yourself, stop seeking new knowledge, stop stepping outside your comfort zone, that's when you start to stagnate. And stagnation for a strong mind is worse than failure, because at least failure teaches you something. Stagnation just keeps you in the same place, year after year, wondering why nothing is changing. So, how do you make lifelong learning a habit? First, develop intellectual humility. Understand that no matter how much you know, there is always more to learn. Seneca believed that wisdom is not in knowing all the answers, but in seeking them relentlessly. He wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." That means reading books, having deep conversations, and studying new skills, not because you have to, but because growth itself is the reward. Second, embrace failure as part of the learning process. People who are afraid of looking foolish, of making mistakes, of stepping into the unknown, they never grow. Why? Because they avoid the very experiences that teach the most. Every time you fail, every time you struggle, you gain something invaluable, wisdom. But only if you choose to see failure as a lesson rather than a defeat. Third, challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone regularly. Growth doesn't happen in routine. It happens in discomfort, in uncertainty, in the moments when you don't have all the answers. The Stoics believed that we should seek out difficult things, not because suffering is the goal, but because growth is. Epictetus taught that we should train our minds the way an athlete trains their body, through discipline, challenge, and continuous improvement. And finally, never let ego stop you from evolving. One of the biggest barriers to learning is thinking you already know enough. The wisest people never assume they have it all figured out. They ask questions. They listen more than they speak. They remain open to new perspectives, even if they challenge their existing beliefs. That's why truly strong people, mentally, emotionally, and intellectually, are always growing. At the end of the day, life rewards those who are willing to adapt. The world changes, industries evolve, people grow. If you refuse to evolve with it, you'll get left behind. But if you commit to lifelong learning, to challenging yourself, to staying curious and open, you'll never stop growing. And that, more than anything, is what keeps you strong. Life isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about becoming strong enough to face anything. The habits we've talked about today aren't just ideas. They're tools that can help you navigate challenges, master your emotions, and build the kind of mindset that nothing can break. But remember, knowledge alone isn't enough. You have to apply it every single day. So, as you move forward, ask yourself, am I embracing change or resisting it? Am I in control of my emotions or letting them control me? Am I protecting my time, taking responsibility, practicing self-compassion, and continuing to learn? Because this daily practice is what separates those who live with strength from those who crumble under life's weight. Did you know that most of us are only tapping into a fraction of our true potential? That's right. Somewhere beneath the daily grind, the endless to-dos, and the comfort of routine lies a powerhouse of untapped strength and capabilities. It's like discovering an old dusty lamp in your attic, only to realize it's been a treasure chest all along. This is the kind of rut that sneaks up on all of us from time to time. But here's where it gets interesting. According to Stoic philosophy, we're not just passive observers of our lives. We're the architects. Stoicism teaches us that our potential is a powerful force, shaped moment by moment through our actions and decisions. It's not enough to recognize your potential. You have to live it, breathe it, and make choices every day that reflect it. Now, let's get real for a moment. If you feel like you're not living up to your full potential, you're not alone. It's a common feeling, but common doesn't mean harmless. It's a sign, a nudge, really, that it's time to wake up, to shake off the dust of complacency, and to start steering your life with intention and purpose. Why settle for just getting by when you could be shooting for the stars? So, why do we get stuck? It's often because we're avoiding discomfort. We stick to routines, to the known paths because they're safe. But Stoicism invites us to look beyond comfort, to see the growth that comes from challenge, from pushing beyond our limits. It's about being proactive, about facing life head-on with courage and resilience. This isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. Think about this. Every day, you have a choice. You can continue to live as you are, or you can take a step, however small, towards something greater. It's not about massive leaps or overnight success. It's about gradual, consistent effort. And yes, it's tough. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but isn't a bit of discomfort worth it if it means realizing your true potential? That's what we're diving into today. How to step out of the shadow of mediocrity and into the light of your greatest potential. How to live not just any life, but a life filled with purpose, achievement, and true fulfillment. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple, free favor I'll ask. Hit that subscribe button. Let's explore how to make every day a testament to what you are truly capable of achieving. No more excuses, no more waiting for the perfect moment. It starts now. Let's talk about a trap so many of us fall into without even realizing it. Mediocrity. It's a silent, creeping fog that envelops life so gradually you might not notice until you're completely engulfed. It's settling for good enough instead of pushing for great. And it's not about shaming ourselves or others for not being overachievers. It's about recognizing when we're holding back from our true potential. You see, mediocrity isn't just about lack of achievement or settling into the lower tiers of your abilities. It's more insidious. It shows up in the excuses we make for why we can't move forward, in the procrastination of tasks that could lead to improvement, and in the comfort zone that keeps us from stepping into challenges. It's the, "I'll start Monday," or "I'm just not good at this." It's these small, seemingly benign thoughts and actions that cement a mediocre life. The Stoics, however, had a powerful antidote to this plight. They believed in living according to virtue and reason, striving to reach a state of moral and philosophical self-mastery that transcends the ordinary. For them, the pursuit of a virtuous life was the pursuit of the best version of oneself. They challenged themselves to turn obstacles into opportunities and regarded every hardship as a chance to practice virtues like courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom. Incorporating this Stoic mindset can shift how we perceive and tackle mediocrity. It's about asking yourself, am I acting out of habit or choice? Is this truly all I am capable of? Or am I capable of more? These questions aren't meant to criticize, but to awaken. They're prompts that push us to reflect and then act with more intention. When we live stoically, we live deliberately. We make choices that are not just easy or convenient, but that are aligned with our greatest good and our most authentic selves. So, how do we break free from the rut of mediocrity? It starts with awareness. Acknowledge where you're accepting less than you deserve or could achieve. Maybe it's in your job, where you do the bare minimum because the passion has fizzled out, or in your relationships, where you hold back from deeper connection due to fear of vulnerability, or perhaps it's in your personal goals, which you've put on indefinite hold. Once you identify these areas, challenge them. Not all at once, but little by little. Set goals that scare you a bit. Reach out to someone who inspires you. Take up a project that requires you to learn and grow. The key is consistent, incremental effort. And yes, there will be failures and setbacks. But remember, as the Stoics teach, it's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Each setback is a chance to learn, to adjust, and to try again with a deeper understanding, strength, and resolve. And let's not forget about the company we keep. Just as mediocrity can be contagious, so too can ambition and growth. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, who encourage you, who help you to rise up. Community is a powerful catalyst for transformation. In a group where excellence is nurtured, you'll find it hard not to grow. We all have that voice inside our head, the one that whispers doubts and feeds on our fears. It's like a constant companion whose favorite hobby is talking us out of our dreams and aspirations. But here's the thing. That voice, your inner critic, doesn't have to dictate your life. It's time to take back control, to silence the doubts, and to transform the way you engage with yourself. The Stoics had a fascinating approach to dealing with the internal dialogue that holds us back. They taught that we should not be disturbed by our thoughts because they are not the truth of who we are. They are merely impressions that come and go. Instead, they encouraged us to question our initial reactions to things, to challenge the validity of those negative whispers, and to respond with reason and virtue. This is where the practice of prose, or attention, becomes vital. It involves being mindful of our thoughts and the judgments we make about them, ensuring they align with our true character and aspirations. And now, think about how often you've caught yourself saying, "I can't do this, I'm not good enough," or "I'm just not cut out for this." These statements are your inner critic's way of keeping you within the bounds of what's comfortable. But growth, as we know from Stoic wisdom, is born from discomfort. By recognizing these thoughts as mere opinions, not facts, you empower yourself to challenge and change them. How do you practically kill your inner critic? Start by observing your thoughts as an outsider. When a negative thought arises, pause and reflect. Is this thought helpful? Does it align with my goals? Is it a rational response or an emotional one steeped in fear? This practice, inspired by the Stoic exercise of reflection, allows you to detach from harmful self-criticism and respond with a more rational, compassionate perspective. Let's also talk about the power of counter-narratives. For every critical thought that arises, actively construct a positive counterpart. If your mind says you're going to fail, counter it with, "I have prepared as best as I can, and I will learn from whatever comes." This isn't about sugarcoating reality. It's about providing a balanced view that includes your strengths and capabilities. Moreover, Stoicism teaches us to embrace challenges as opportunities to test and refine our virtues. So when your inner critic tries to steer you away from a challenge, see it as an opportunity to practice courage and perseverance. Each time you confront a fear or doubt, you weaken the hold your inner critic has on you and strengthen your commitment to personal excellence. It's also helpful to cultivate an environment that reinforces your new mindset. Surround yourself with affirmations, whether they be quotes from your favorite Stoic philosophers, reminders of your past successes, or simple affirmations of your worth and capability. These serve as constant reminders of your path and help drown out the noise of your inner critic. Lastly, remember that silencing your inner critic is a journey, not a one-time event. It requires patience, persistence, and a lot of self-compassion. Mistakes will be made, and that's okay. What's important is that you keep moving forward. Keep challenging those negative thoughts, and keep aligning your actions with your true potential. Stepping out of your comfort zone might sound like a cliche plastered over countless motivational posters and self-help books, but there's profound truth hidden in those words, especially when viewed through the lens of Stoicism. The Stoics weren't just philosophers, they were practitioners of life, and they believed deeply in the value of testing one's spirit against the friction of the world. It's in the struggle, they argued, that we find our true strength. Let's break down what this means in everyday terms. Discomfort isn't just about physical strain or emotional stress. It's about confronting the parts of life that you instinctively want to avoid. It could be as simple as waking up an hour earlier to meditate or exercise, or as challenging as speaking up in a meeting when you'd rather blend into the background. These moments of discomfort are actually opportunities, golden tickets to the kind of personal growth that creates lasting change. When you deliberately choose discomfort, you're doing something quite revolutionary. You're saying to yourself and the world that you're not content to remain stagnant. You're echoing the Stoic practice of voluntary discomfort, where you might choose to wear simpler clothes, eat simpler food, or expose yourself to the cold, not as a punishment, but as a way to remind yourself that you can handle less than optimal conditions, and thus you are stronger than you think. The beauty of embracing discomfort in this controlled way is that it prepares you for life's unpredictable challenges. Think about it. If you make it a habit to push your boundaries in small, everyday ways, you're building up a resilience that's akin to a muscle. Then, when life throws something truly difficult your way, a job loss, a tough diagnosis, a personal setback, you're better equipped to handle it. You're not easily knocked down because you've practiced standing up again and again. Moreover, Stoicism teaches that our character is shaped not by our thoughts alone, but by our repeated actions. Each time you choose to step into discomfort, you're sculpting a version of yourself that's a bit tougher, a bit braver, a bit wiser. And over time, these qualities accumulate, crafting a persona that not only survives challenges, but thrives through them. To start integrating this practice into your life, begin with something small. Identify one thing that you've been avoiding because it feels uncomfortable or challenging. Set a goal to tackle it this week. Maybe it's initiating a difficult conversation you've been putting off, or committing to a public speaking engagement despite your fear of crowds. Notice the resistance that comes up, the excuses, the justifications, and gently remind yourself of your ability to endure and adapt. As you do this, it's crucial to maintain a mindset of curiosity and non-judgment. Observe how you feel before, during, and after the experience. What did you learn? How did your perception of the challenge change? How did your perception of yourself change? These reflections are invaluable, as they help solidify the lessons learned from each experience of discomfort. Remember, embracing discomfort is not about tormenting yourself or seeking out pain for pain's sake. It's about expanding your boundaries, one small step at a time, in ways that enhance your life and deepen your character. It's about living in accordance with Stoic principles that value growth and resilience over comfort and ease. This approach doesn't just prepare you for life's challenges, it transforms them into the very experiences that shape a bold, capable, and virtuous life. One of the most powerful tools in your personal development arsenal is accountability. It's like having a workout buddy for your goals. You know the feeling. When someone else is counting on you, you're way less likely to hit snooze or skip out. But here's the twist. In the journey toward living your best life, you're not just accountable to others, you're primarily accountable to yourself. And that's where the real growth happens. In Stoicism, there's a heavy emphasis on personal responsibility and self-discipline. The Stoics believe that our character and our lives are the results of our choices. They teach us to own these choices and to face the consequences with courage and integrity. This sense of responsibility toward oneself is fundamental because it underpins everything. From your daily routines to your life's ambitions, let's talk about how you can enhance your sense of accountability. It starts with making your goals visible. Write them down, not in a private journal tucked away in a drawer, but somewhere you can see them every day. It could be a big whiteboard in your room, a note on your fridge, or even a digital reminder that pops up on your phone. Visibility reminds you of your commitments and helps keep them at the forefront of your mind. Next, integrate regular check-ins on your progress. This could be a weekly review where you sit down and ask yourself some hard questions. What did I accomplish this week? Where did I fall short? What can I do differently moving forward? These sessions aren't about beating yourself up for missed targets or lapses. Instead, they're opportunities for honest, constructive self-reflection, a practice deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy. The Stoics were all about self-examination and learning from every action and outcome. Sharing your goals with someone else can also magnify your commitment. Choose a friend, a family member, or even a mentor. Someone who will not just cheer for you but will also call you out when you're off track. This creates a layer of external accountability, which can be incredibly motivating. It's about creating a social contract where you feel a sense of duty not to let the other person down, which in turn strengthens your resolve to meet your own expectations. In addition to involving others, there's a Stoic method that can be particularly effective: envisioning the ideal version of yourself. Seneca, one of the prominent Stoic philosophers, encouraged frequent contemplation of one's highest potential. By regularly imagining yourself as the person you aspire to become, you create a mental benchmark for your actions. Ask yourself regularly, is what I'm doing right now aligning with the virtues of the person I strive to be? This mental modeling acts as a North Star, guiding your daily choices and efforts. Let's not underestimate the power of setting up a system that rewards your progress. The rewards don't have to be extravagant. They just need to acknowledge your efforts and successes. This could be as simple as treating yourself to a favorite meal, taking a day off to relax, or buying that small thing you've been eyeing for a while. Rewards reinforce positive behavior and make the journey enjoyable, which is essential because, let's face it, the path to self-improvement can be tough and demanding. It's often said that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This saying has more truth to it than you might realize at first glance. The people around us have a profound impact on our thoughts, behaviors, and ultimately our success. But it's not just about success in the conventional sense. It's about growing as a person, cultivating wisdom, and building a life that's rich in character and satisfaction. Stoic philosophy places a strong emphasis on community and relationships because the Stoics understood that humans are inherently social creatures. We influence each other in countless ways, many of which are subtle and subconscious. Seneca, a renowned Stoic thinker, advised choosing friends who embody the traits we wish to develop, suggesting that their characteristics would naturally rub off on us. By surrounding ourselves with people who are wise, virtuous, and purpose-driven, we are more likely to adopt these qualities ourselves. Think about the people you spend most of your time with. Are they ambitious, optimistic, and resilient? Do they challenge you to think differently, push your boundaries, and question your assumptions? Or do they uphold the status quo, resist change, and nurture negativity? It's essential to make these assessments honestly and decide if your circle is pulling you forward or holding you back. Creating a powerful network doesn't mean you need to start cutting people out of your life ruthlessly. Instead, it's about consciously deciding to spend more time with those who inspire you and support your growth. This can mean reaching out to mentors, joining clubs or groups aligned with your interests, or even connecting with like-minded individuals online. The key is to engage with people who not only support your goals but also encourage you to surpass them. Moreover, Stoicism teaches us about the importance of contributing to our community. It's not just about what you can get from your relationships, but also what you can give. Being a valuable member of your network involves offering support, sharing knowledge, and being genuinely happy for others' successes. The more you invest in your relationships, the richer your interactions become, and the more profound their impact on your life. This concept of mutual growth is vital. As you strive to be the best version of yourself, you should also seek to uplift those around you. This can be through simple actions like providing a listening ear, offering encouragement during challenging times, or sharing resources that have helped you. Each of these actions strengthens your connections and builds a network that is not just beneficial, but also meaningful. Remember, your network extends beyond just friends and family. It includes everyone, from your colleagues and acquaintances to the people you meet at events and conferences. Each interaction is an opportunity to learn something new and to leave a positive impression. Approach each conversation with curiosity and respect, qualities much admired by the Stoics, and you will find that building a strong network is a rewarding endeavor in itself. In a world that never stops moving, where every moment is filled with noise, demands, and relentless pressure, finding true peace might seem like a distant dream. But what if I told you that tranquility isn't found in escaping your life, but in changing how you live it? This isn't about retreat. It's about transformation. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy designed for modern chaos, teaches us not just to survive, but to thrive amidst life's storms by mastering the art of control. Control not over others, but over ourselves. Welcome to Stoic Journal, where ancient wisdom meets modern challenges. If you're ready to embrace Stoic strategies that will empower you to sail through life's turbulent waters with grace and resilience, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into the core of Stoicism, exploring how this timeless wisdom can be more than just a philosophy. It can be a practical toolkit for living a richer, more resilient life. So, if you're looking to turn challenges into opportunities and cultivate a steadfast serenity that lasts, stay tuned. Together, we'll unlock the secrets of Stoicism and discover how to harness its power every single day. Join me in embracing a life where every obstacle becomes a stepping stone to personal growth and fulfillment. If you appreciate what we're doing here and want to support this journey into Stoicism, a simple favor I'll ask from you is to hit the subscribe button. And don't skip any part of the video. We've packed it with insights that unfold step by step, each one building on the last to transform your understanding and your life. When we dive into the teachings of Stoicism, one of the most powerful and life-changing principles we encounter is the concept of control. It's fascinating how this ancient philosophy, developed over 2 millennia ago, provides us with a tool so essential for our modern hectic lives. Stoicism teaches us a simple yet profound truth. Our true power lies not in extending our reach over the external world, but in mastering our own inner responses. This concept isn't about gaining control over others or the circumstances we find ourselves in. Rather, it's about understanding what is truly within our grasp, our thoughts, our reactions, and our actions. Think about it. How often do we find ourselves feeling frustrated or upset over things we simply cannot change? Maybe it's the weather ruining our weekend plans or a friend running late to a meetup. Our natural inclination might be to let these external events disturb our peace. However, Stoicism invites us to shift our focus. Instead of ruminating on the uncontrollable, Stoicism encourages us to ask, what can I control in this situation? The answer is almost always related to our internal state, our mindset, our readiness to adapt, and our decision on how to respond. This principle of focusing on what we can control helps us build resilience against the chaos of everyday life. By anchoring our energy on our internal state, we create a kind of mental fortress that external circumstances cannot breach. For instance, when facing a traffic jam that makes us late for an important appointment, instead of stewing in anger and frustration, Stoicism teaches us to use that time to reflect, plan our day, or simply enjoy some music. This change in perspective doesn't alter the traffic, but it dramatically transforms our experience of it. Moreover, understanding control is about accepting the limits of our influence. This acceptance does not mean resignation, but rather a strategic redirection of our efforts toward areas where we can make a real impact. It's like being the captain of a ship in a storm. While you can't control the storm, you have the authority over how you steer the ship and manage the crew. This metaphor encapsulates the Stoic approach, managing our ship, ourselves, with wisdom and integrity, regardless of the storm and challenges around us. Practicing this Stoic principle also means preparing ourselves for various outcomes. It teaches us to remain composed, not only when things go our way, but also when they don't. This level of detachment from outcomes is incredibly freeing. It allows us to engage in our activities with full effort and commitment, but without the heavy burden of needing certain outcomes for our happiness. This is what Stoics mean when they talk about selective indifference. Caring deeply about our actions and efforts, while being indifferent to the fluctuations of fortune. The Stoic understanding of control is a powerful antidote to stress and anxiety. It grounds us in the present and focuses us on the actionable, empowering us to live with intention and tranquility. By internalizing this lesson, we don't just cope with life's unpredictabilities, we thrive amidst them. We become proactive participants in our lives, choosing responses that align with our deepest values, rather than being reactive to every external stimulus. Embracing the Stoic practice of focusing on what we can control doesn't happen overnight. It requires mindfulness, self-reflection, and regular practice. But the rewards, increased serenity, effectiveness, and a profound sense of empowerment, are well worth the effort. As we continue to explore Stoicism, let's keep this foundational principle in mind. It's not just about reading and understanding Stoic philosophy, it's about living it, one controlled, thoughtful response at a time. In Stoic philosophy, virtue is not just a moral compass, but the very core of a fulfilling life. It's interesting how Stoicism aligns the pursuit of virtue with the pursuit of happiness, a concept that might seem counterintuitive in today's fast-paced world, where happiness is often equated with pleasure or success. But Stoics view it differently. For them, happiness isn't found in external achievements or material possessions, but in living a life of virtue. So, what exactly does virtue mean in Stoicism? It encompasses four main qualities: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Each of these virtues plays a crucial role in how we navigate our lives. Wisdom involves the insightful understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Courage is about facing life's challenges with resilience and bravery. Justice relates to treating others with fairness and kindness. Temperance is the art of self-control and moderation. Together, these virtues form the Stoic ideal of a well-lived life. The Stoic pursuit of happiness through virtue is fundamentally different from the fleeting pleasures we often chase. Stoicism teaches us that true happiness is a state of inner peace and satisfaction that comes from knowing you've lived well according to your own principles. This kind of happiness is stable and enduring. It doesn't evaporate when external conditions change, because it's based not on what happens to us, but on how we choose to respond. This approach to happiness is incredibly empowering. It suggests that regardless of our external circumstances, we have the capacity to cultivate happiness within ourselves by developing virtuous qualities. Think about the implications of that. It means that our emotional and psychological well-being doesn't have to be at the mercy of our surroundings or situations, which are often beyond our control. Instead, happiness becomes something we actively build through our choices and actions. Practicing Stoic virtue also means striving to be better each day. It's about personal growth and self-improvement. For instance, when we practice temperance, we learn to resist impulses that might lead to excess or harm. When we practice justice, we contribute positively to our communities, promoting a sense of goodwill and support. Each act of virtue not only enhances our own lives, but also touches the lives of others around us, creating a ripple effect of positivity. Moreover, the Stoic link between virtue and happiness teaches us about the importance of aligning our actions with our values. In a world where we are often pulled in different directions by conflicting desires and pressures, Stoicism offers a clear directive: focus on living virtuously. This simplifies decision-making and reduces the stress and anxiety associated with trying to please everyone or achieve perfection. It guides us to focus on being good, rather than merely feeling good or looking good. Embracing Stoic virtues isn't about suppressing emotions or denying pleasure. It's about finding a deeper, more meaningful kind of happiness that sustains us through life's ups and downs. It challenges us to look beyond immediate gratification and consider the long-term effects of our actions on our character and well-being. In practice, living a life of Stoic virtue can be challenging. It requires constant vigilance and effort. It asks us to be mindful of our actions and choices, to reflect regularly on our behavior, and to strive continually towards embodying the Stoic ideals. But the payoff is immense. As we align more closely with these virtues, we find that our lives are richer, our relationships are stronger, and our souls are calmer. So, as we journey through the teachings of Stoicism, let's keep in mind that virtue is the key to genuine, lasting happiness. It's not an easy path, but it is a rewarding one, filled with growth, resilience, and a deep sense of fulfillment. In the pursuit of Stoic happiness, every step we take in virtue is a step towards a more peaceful and meaningful life. One of the most compelling aspects of Stoicism is how it teaches us to reframe our perceptions to change our reality. This concept might sound a bit like modern psychology, and you'd be right to think there are parallels. Stoicism, however, takes this idea back thousands of years and integrates it into a broader philosophy that addresses how we can lead fulfilling lives by focusing on what we truly control. So, how does Stoicism help us reframe our perception? It starts with the premise that it's not the events themselves that upset us, but rather our opinions about them. For example, if you get caught in a rainstorm and feel miserable, it's not necessarily the rain that's causing your misery, it's your perception of the situation. Perhaps you see the rain as an annoyance rather than a natural occurrence that brings much-needed water to the earth. This shift in thinking, from seeing the rain as a personal inconvenience to viewing it as a beneficial ecological event, changes your emotional response to it. This Stoic principle of reframing perception is incredibly powerful because it puts us back in the driver's seat of our own emotions. Instead of being tossed around by external events, we get to choose our responses. This is done through what Stoics call the dichotomy of control, which is simply distinguishing between what we can control and what we can't. We can't control the weather, the traffic, or other people's actions, but we can control our reactions to these things. Let's dive a bit deeper into how this works in practice. Imagine you're working on a project at work, and suddenly there's a change in project direction due to external factors beyond your control. You might initially feel frustrated or anxious about the changes and additional work. However, by applying Stoic thinking, you can reframe this situation. Instead of viewing it as a setback, see it as an opportunity to learn new skills or to demonstrate your flexibility and creativity. This doesn't just change how you feel about the situation, it changes the situation itself in terms of your experience of it. Moreover, this reframing of perception, according to Stoic principles, goes beyond mere positive thinking. It's about seeing the truth of a situation more clearly. It involves understanding the nature of the world as one of change and unpredictability, and then aligning our expectations and actions accordingly. This alignment reduces our disappointments and enhances our resilience, as we are no longer fighting against the inevitable flow of life, but moving with it. The practice of reframing perception also encourages us to focus on the present moment, instead of getting lost in regrets about the past or worries about the future. Stoicism teaches us to concentrate on the here and now, on what we are doing at this moment, and how we can do it with virtue. This focus is liberating because it narrows down the vast array of things that might concern us to the few things we can actually influence. Reframing perception and reality in Stoicism isn't just a coping mechanism, it's a transformative process that leads to true inner peace. By consistently applying this Stoic practice, we begin to see that many of the walls we face are ones we have built ourselves with our misconceptions and misplaced beliefs. Breaking down these walls doesn't just change our view of the world, it changes the world we live in. The Stoic practice of reframing our perceptions is about understanding the true nature of events, recognizing our power to choose our responses, and focusing our efforts on what we can actually influence. This approach doesn't just help us handle life's challenges more effectively, it empowers us to lead lives marked by calm, clarity, and purpose. As we continue to explore and apply these Stoic teachings, we find that the quality of our lives is not determined by external circumstances, but by the perceptions and choices we make. In Stoicism, one of the most profound and perhaps most challenging concepts is amor fati, which translates to love of fate. This isn't just about accepting whatever life throws at us. It's about embracing it with open arms, not just as an unavoidable reality, but as something beneficial and necessary for our growth. It's a powerful idea that turns potential adversity into a source of strength. How do we begin to not just accept but love our fate? It starts with understanding that everything that happens can be seen as an opportunity. Stoicism teaches us that our character is formed not through our experiences, but through our responses to those experiences. When we love our fate, we are essentially saying that we trust in the natural flow of life and believe there is value in whatever happens. This doesn't mean we desire or wish for suffering or hardship, but rather that we find peace and purpose in the inevitability of such experiences. The beauty of amor fati lies in its radical optimism. Instead of fighting against the currents of life, we learn to swim with them. This perspective doesn't come easily, of course. It requires a deep philosophical shift, a sort of mental rewiring that allows us to see the silver linings in dark clouds, without being naive or dismissive of the hardships. For example, if you lose a job, it's natural to feel upset and anxious. However, embracing amor fati would involve a shift in perspective, where you might see this event as an opportunity to pursue a path more aligned with your true passions, or to develop resilience and adaptability. Embracing amor fati also means letting go of bitterness and regret. Stoicism doesn't ask us to forget the past or ignore the pain. Instead, it encourages us to acknowledge our feelings, but not to allow them to control us. By loving our fate, we accept the past for what it is, a part of our journey that has led us to where we are now, contributing to who we have become. This acceptance frees us from the weight of past grievances, allowing us to move forward with a lighter spirit and a clearer mind. Moreover, amor fati is about finding joy in the journey itself, not just a destination. It's easy to think we'll be happy when we reach a certain milestone, when we get that job, when we buy that house, when we retire. But Stoicism teaches us that there's a profound joy available to us right here and now, in this very moment, if only we choose to see and embrace it. This doesn't mean we stop striving or becoming. It means we cherish the process as much as, if not more than, the outcomes. In practical terms, living with amor fati can start with small steps. It might mean taking a moment each day to reflect on something that didn't go as planned and finding something valuable in that experience. Perhaps it taught you a lesson, or maybe it strengthened a relationship through shared struggle. It could also involve more significant life changes, such as choosing a career path that feels true to your core values, even if it's less conventional or secure. Trusting that the challenges along the way will enrich your life's narrative. Amor fati enriches our lives by deepening our connection to the world and to ourselves. It helps us cultivate an inner resilience that acts as an anchor in the stormy seas of life. This love of fate doesn't make life easier, but it does make us stronger and more harmoniously aligned with the natural course of events. As we continue to explore Stoicism, let's try to see amor fati not just as a philosophical concept, but as a daily practice, a way to embrace each moment, each challenge, and each joy that life offers. By doing so, we transform our relationship with life itself, turning every experience into a pathway to greater wisdom and peace. Embarking on the journey to Stoicism is like starting a profound adventure, one that invites us to explore deep insights into our lives and fundamentally change how we interact with the world around us. It's not merely about learning a set of theories. It's about transforming those theories into everyday practices that strengthen our resilience, enhance our happiness, and deepen our understanding of life. The journey begins with a simple yet profound shift in perspective, recognizing that while we can't control external events, we can control our responses to them. This realization is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It's a liberating concept that frees us from feeling victimized by circumstances or other people's actions. Instead, it empowers us to take charge of our inner world. As we delve deeper into Stoicism, we learn to cultivate 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Each of these virtues is not just an abstract ideal, but a practical guide to living well. Wisdom teaches us to see things as they really are. Courage gives us the strength to face challenges head-on. Justice guides us to treat others fairly. And temperance helps us find balance in all things. Embracing these virtues in daily life can be challenging, but also incredibly rewarding. Another key aspect of the Stoic journey is developing mindfulness, being fully present in the moment. This practice helps us become more aware of our thoughts, feelings, and reactions. By observing ourselves without judgment, we can start to identify patterns that might lead us away from our Stoic ideals. For instance, we might notice that we tend to react impulsively when we're stressed, or that we hold on to grudges longer than is healthy. Awareness is the first step toward change. Practical exercises are also integral to this journey. One such exercise is the evening reflection, where we review our day and assess how well we lived up to our Stoic principles. Did we handle a stressful situation with composure? Did we treat everyone we encountered with fairness and kindness? These reflections not only help us learn from our experiences, but also reinforce our commitment to living a Stoic life. The journey to Stoicism also involves embracing challenges as opportunities for growth. This perspective shift is essential because it turns every obstacle into a teacher. When we face difficulties, instead of feeling defeated, we can ask ourselves, what can this situation teach me? This approach not only makes us more resilient, but also more open to learning and personal development. Furthermore, Stoicism encourages us to build a community or seek out like-minded individuals who are also on this path. Having a support system can be incredibly beneficial, as it provides us with encouragement, different perspectives, and companionship on our journey. Sharing experiences and challenges with others who understand and appreciate Stoic principles can enhance our own understanding and application of Stoicism. Finally, the journey to Stoicism is a lifelong pursuit. It's not about reaching a state of perfection, but about striving toward continuous improvement. It's about becoming more virtuous, more resilient, and more aligned with our true selves each day. As we progress, we'll find that the rewards of this philosophical path are not just about personal tranquility and resilience. They extend to improving our relationships with others and positively impacting the world around us. The journey to Stoicism is about growth and transformation. It challenges us to look inward, reassess our values, and align our actions with those values. It teaches us to be strong in the face of adversity and compassionate in our dealings with others. It's a path that not only enhances our own lives, but also has the potential to enrich the lives of everyone around us. Let's embrace this journey with open hearts and minds, ready to learn and grow in ways we might never have imagined. Integrating Stoicism into daily life is about much more than adopting a philosophical outlook. It's about transforming abstract Stoic principles into concrete actions and habits that enhance our everyday experiences. Practical Stoicism isn't just for times of crisis or philosophical reflection. It's for the ordinary moments, the everyday decisions, and the small challenges that shape our lives. The first step in practicing Stoicism daily is starting each day with intentionality. This means setting a few minutes aside each morning to contemplate the day ahead and remind ourselves of the Stoic virtues we aim to embody: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. It's about asking ourselves how we can apply these virtues in the day's activities. For example, how will I exhibit temperance in my eating habits or spending? How can I practice courage in my workplace or personal challenges? This morning ritual sets a purposeful tone for the day, aligning our actions with our Stoic ideals. Throughout the day, practical Stoicism involves being mindful of our reactions to events and people. It's about observing our automatic responses and asking whether they align with Stoic principles when something doesn't go as planned. Instead of reacting with frustration or anger, we pause and consider a more measured Stoic response. This might mean taking a deep breath and recalling the Stoic view that we can control our reactions, even if we can't control external events. This habit of pausing and choosing our response can transform our interactions and significantly reduce stress and conflict in our lives. Another key aspect of practical Stoicism is dealing with negative emotions effectively. Stoicism teaches us that negative emotions are often the result of mistaken judgments or excessive attachments to things beyond our control. When we feel overwhelmed by negative emotions, it's helpful to step back and analyze their source. Are we upset because of something outside our control? Are we placing too much importance on external validation or material success? By questioning the roots of our emotions and aligning our expectations with Stoic principles, we can regain our composure and perspective. Practical Stoicism also extends to how we handle interpersonal relationships. Stoics emphasize the importance of justice and kindness in dealing with others. This means practicing empathy, being fair in our judgments, and considering the common good in our decisions. It's about treating others with respect and understanding, even when we disagree or when others do not treat us as we'd hope. By embodying these virtues in our relationships, we not only live more stoically but also contribute to a more harmonious and supportive community. In our pursuit of personal growth, practical Stoicism encourages us to reflect on our day each evening. This isn't about harsh self-criticism, but about honest self-assessment. What did I do well today? Where could I have been more stoic? This practice of evening reflection helps solidify the day's lessons and prepares us to be even more virtuous and resilient tomorrow. It reinforces the Stoic commitment to continual improvement and helps us track our progress in living a Stoic life. Finally, practical Stoicism involves embracing challenges as opportunities for growth and learning. This means viewing obstacles not as impediments but as chances to practice and strengthen our Stoic virtues. Whether it's a difficult project at work, a personal setback, or an unexpected change in plans, each challenge is a chance to apply Stoic wisdom and resilience. By integrating these practices into our daily lives, Stoicism becomes not just a philosophy we read about, but a vibrant, living guide. It influences how we think, how we react, how we relate to others, and how we understand the world. Through practical Stoicism, we don't just survive the vicissitudes of life, we thrive amidst them, finding deeper satisfaction and peace in our journey through life. As we close today's journey into the heart of Stoicism, remember that embracing this philosophy is about more than just understanding. It's about living. Each moment, each decision, and each challenge offers a new opportunity to practice resilience, wisdom, and virtue. By integrating Stoicism into our daily lives, we don't just change ourselves, we change our entire world, one thoughtful action at a time. Every single day, we're faced with moments that test our patience and rattle our calm. Whether it's a traffic jam when you're already late, a coworker's irritating habits, or your phone battery dying in the middle of an important call, life seems full of these little battles. It's not just about these minor irritations, though. It's about how we respond to them that shapes our days and, ultimately, our lives. It's important to remember that everyone feels angry sometimes. It's part of being human. But here's where Stoicism steps in with its profound wisdom. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. This is pivotal in transforming our relationship with anger. Think about it. When something goes wrong or someone frustrates us, our first instinct might be to react with anger. But what if, instead, we paused and considered this reaction? Stoicism encourages us to see these moments as opportunities to practice virtues like patience, understanding, and resilience. By acknowledging anger as a natural emotion, we set the stage for learning how to handle it more effectively. The Stoic philosophers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius often discuss the concept of not being swayed by external events, but instead focusing on our internal responses. They believe that our emotions, including anger, come from our judgments about events, not the events themselves. So, when we feel angry, it's often because we're placing a particular value or judgment on what's happened. This understanding opens up a powerful opportunity for us. Each time we feel anger rising, we can ask ourselves, what judgment am I making about this situation? Is there another way to view it? This is not about suppressing or denying your anger. It's about understanding it. By getting to the root of what triggers our anger, we can start to change our responses. For instance, if you get cut off in traffic and feel the anger bubbling up, recognize this as a chance to examine why you react this way. Is it really the action of the other driver, or is it your belief that your route should be obstacle-free? Moreover, acknowledging anger helps us empathize with others who might also struggle with their emotions. This empathy can deepen our connections and improve our interactions. It's about compassion, both for ourselves and for others. as we navigate the complexities of human emotions. This idea is at the heart of Stoic philosophy and is incredibly liberating once you truly grasp it. Think about it. So much of our frustration and anger stems from situations or people we simply can't change, no matter how much we might want to. The Stoics, like the wise Marcus Aurelius, taught that the real power lies in recognizing the difference between what we can control and what we can't. You control your thoughts, your decisions, and your actions. That's it. Everything else is more or less out of your hands. Other people's actions, the weather, the past, and much of the future. But here's where it gets interesting. By focusing on our own reactions and attitudes, we reclaim a tremendous amount of power. Instead of wasting energy on the uncontrollable, we invest it in what we can actually influence. Let's make it practical. Say you're working on a group project and someone isn't pulling their weight. It's easy to get frustrated, right? You might even feel your temper rising, but ask yourself, what part of this situation can I actually control? You can't make your teammate work harder, but you can control how you respond to the challenge. Maybe it's a conversation about expectations, or perhaps it's reallocating work within the group. By shifting your focus like this, you not only reduce your own stress, but also open up more constructive ways to address the problem. Another aspect of this Stoic principle is accepting that some things are just beyond our control. This acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means understanding where our power truly lies. It's about not letting external events dictate your peace of mind. For instance, if you're stuck in traffic and getting irritated because you're going to be late, pause and think, can I control the traffic? No. But what can you control? Your reaction. Maybe you turn on an audiobook or some calming music, or use the time to think through your day. The beauty of focusing on what you can control is that it gradually builds a stronger, more resilient mindset. Over time, you'll find yourself less shaken by life's ups and downs because you know where your responsibilities lie and where they don't. This isn't about suppressing your feelings, but about channeling your energies more productively. It's about being fully present in the moment, aware of where we are and what we're doing, without being overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around us. This aligns beautifully with Stoic teachings, which emphasize awareness of our thoughts and actions and maintaining control over our reactions to external circumstances. So why practice mindfulness? Because it helps us to pause between our experiences and our reactions to them. By becoming more mindful, we can choose responses that align with our values and goals instead of getting swept away by emotions. For example, when someone says something that upsets you, instead of immediately reacting or snapping back, mindfulness allows you to take a step back. You notice your emotional surge, but choose to observe it passively, without acting on it immediately. This space that mindfulness creates is not just calming, it's empowering. It gives you the chance to choose a response that you won't regret later. Let's talk about how to incorporate mindfulness into daily life. Because it sounds great in theory, but it's in the practice that the real magic happens. One simple technique is to focus on your breathing. When you find yourself feeling anxious or angry, take a moment to concentrate on deep, slow breaths. This focus pulls your mind away from the triggers of stress or anger and brings you back to what you can control: your breath. Another practical method is what I like to call mindful observation. Choose an ordinary task or moment, like drinking a cup of coffee. Focus all your senses on this experience. Notice the aroma, the heat of the cup in your hands, the taste. This practice of engaging fully with the present moment can transform an ordinary experience into a richer, more textured moment. What's fascinating about this is that it trains your brain to apply the same level of awareness to more challenging situations. When anger or frustration arises, you'll be better equipped to handle it with the same focus and calm. Stoicism also teaches us about the impermanence of our experiences. Nothing lasts forever, not even our emotions. Mindfulness complements this by helping us to experience our feelings without judgment. Acknowledge that you're angry, recognize it, but also remind yourself that this anger is just a passing state. It's not who you are, and it doesn't control you, unless you let it. The idea that everything changes and nothing lasts forever is a universal truth that can help us navigate life's ups and downs with more grace and less frustration. It's about understanding that our circumstances, emotions, and even our thoughts are constantly in flux, and learning to embrace this constant state of change rather than resisting it. Think about how often we get upset because things didn't go as planned. Maybe it was a job promotion that didn't come through, a relationship that ended unexpectedly, or a sudden change in our health. Our first reaction might be to resist these changes, to get angry or sad. But Stoicism invites us to look at these situations differently, through the lens of impermanence. When we truly grasp that nothing is permanent, we start to realize that our anger or disappointment is also temporary. This doesn't diminish the importance of our feelings, but gives us a more balanced perspective on them. Embracing impermanence allows us to live more in the present and worry less about the past and the future. If you know that everything is temporary, you begin to appreciate your experiences and the people around you more deeply. You don't take things for granted because you're aware that circumstances can change at any moment. This awareness can be incredibly freeing. It reduces the sting of negative events and enhances the joy of positive ones. Now, how do we practice accepting impermanence in daily life? Start by reflecting on the transient nature of your surroundings and experiences. For example, watch how the seasons change. Observe how your feelings shift throughout the day, or how your relationships evolve over time. These observations can be reminders that change is the only constant. Another way to integrate this into your life is by adjusting how you respond to disruptions or unexpected changes. Instead of reacting with frustration when something doesn't go your way, take a moment to acknowledge that this change is part of a bigger flow of life. It's an opportunity to adapt and grow. Think about a time when something didn't work out as you had hoped, and then something better came along. Often, it's only in hindsight that we see how these changes were beneficial. Stoicism doesn't just ask us to accept impermanence, it encourages us to find strength in it. Each change and ending is a chance to practice resilience and flexibility. By fostering this mindset, we not only cope with life's challenges more effectively, but also learn to move through them with a sense of peace and anticipation for what's next. The Stoics believe that becoming aware of the root causes of our emotions could lead to greater self-mastery. When we understand our emotions, we are better equipped to respond to life's challenges in ways that are aligned with our values and goals, rather than simply reacting out of habit or impulse. Every emotion we experience, whether it's anger, joy, sadness, or fear, is triggered by our perception. For example, if you feel angry when someone interrupts you while speaking, it's worth exploring why. Is it because you feel disrespected? Or perhaps it reflects a deeper insecurity about your voice being heard. By digging into these questions, you can begin to understand not just your reactions, but also the beliefs and values that underlie them. This understanding is crucial because it gives you the opportunity to change your perceptions and consequently the way you feel. Stoicism teaches us that our emotions are predicated on our judgments. The good news is that judgments can be examined and changed. So, when you feel a strong emotion, try to step back and ask yourself, what am I believing right now? Is this belief true? Is it helpful? This kind of questioning can be very powerful. It allows you to shift your perspective and choose a different emotional response, one that serves you better. For instance, if you're feeling anxious about a work presentation, it might be because you believe that you must perform perfectly in order to be respected. But is this really true? Likely, your colleagues value your effort and sincerity more than perfection. Recognizing this can alleviate some of your anxiety and help you approach the situation with more calmness and confidence. Practically speaking, journaling can be an incredibly effective tool for understanding your emotions. By writing down what you feel and exploring why you feel it, you can uncover patterns and triggers that you might not be aware of otherwise. This reflection not only helps in the moment, but also builds a sort of emotional intelligence over time that can make you more resilient and adaptable. Another approach is to discuss your feelings with someone you trust, a friend, a family member, or a mentor. Speaking about your emotions can provide new insights and perspectives that you might not have considered. It's often through dialogue that we come to new understandings about ourselves and our relationships. Embracing the Stoic approach to emotions isn't about suppressing what you feel. On the contrary, it's about engaging with your emotions in a proactive and reflective way. It's about taking control of the narrative of your inner life. By understanding your emotions, you're not just reacting to the world, you're actively shaping your experience of it. Stoicism teaches us the value of patience, not just as a way to endure, but as a method to transform our experiences. Patience, according to Stoic philosophy, isn't just about waiting, it's about how we behave while we wait. It's about maintaining our composure and dignity in the face of life's delays and challenges, understanding that these are often outside our control. In our daily lives, we encounter countless situations that can trigger impatience, from a slow-moving line at the grocery store to a traffic jam or a delayed response from a colleague. Our first instinct might be to feel irritated or stressed, but here's where Stoicism comes into play. It encourages us to see these moments as opportunities to practice virtue. Every instance of delay is a chance to exercise patience, to reinforce our ability to stay calm and collected. So, how can we develop patience in practical terms? One effective approach is to adjust our expectations. Often, our impatience stems from a mismatch between our expectations and reality. If we start by acknowledging that delays and obstacles are natural parts of life, we're less likely to get upset when they occur. This doesn't mean lowering our standards, but rather aligning our expectations with the fact that the world won't always operate according to our preferences. Another key method is to use the moments of waiting as opportunities for growth and reflection. If you're stuck in traffic, instead of fuming over the delay, you can turn it into valuable time, listening to an audiobook, practice deep breathing, or simply reflect on your day. This shift in perspective turns a frustrating situation into a productive or relaxing one. Practicing mindfulness is also a powerful ally in developing patience. By being present in the moment and fully engaging with it, we can distance ourselves from the feelings of urgency and restlessness that often accompany waiting. Mindfulness helps us cultivate a peaceful state of mind that buffers us against the stirrings of impatience. Stoicism not only advocates for patience, but also for understanding the impermanence of our current state. Remembering that this too shall pass can help us endure unpleasant situations, whether it's waiting for a delayed flight or enduring a long recovery from an illness. The knowledge that it is temporary makes it more bearable. Finally, celebrating small victories is crucial in developing patience. When you manage to stay calm during a situation that would normally make you impatient, acknowledge and reward yourself for this achievement. This reinforces the behavior and makes it more likely to become a habit. This is one of those transformative experiences that not only changes the way we relate to others, but also profoundly affects our inner peace. Forgiveness in the Stoic sense is not about condoning wrongdoings or forgetting the harm done. It's about freeing ourselves from the emotional burden that comes from carrying grudges. Forgiveness requires a strong sense of self-awareness and control over one's emotions, qualities that Stoics strive to develop. It involves recognizing that our anger and hurt, while natural and valid responses to perceived injustices, are ultimately within our control. This doesn't mean that the process is simple or immediate. Forgiveness can be challenging. It often requires a deliberate, concerted effort to let go of deep-seated feelings of injustice. Consider the power that comes from deciding not to allow someone else's actions to disturb your inner tranquility. This is the essence of Stoic forgiveness. It's about making a conscious choice to not let past actions continually affect your present state of mind. This decision helps you reclaim your emotional energy and focus it on more constructive pursuits that align with your values and goals. Now, how do we start practicing forgiveness in everyday life? It begins with the recognition that all humans are fallible, ourselves included. We all make mistakes, sometimes out of ignorance, sometimes out of malice. Reflecting on our own shortcomings can help us develop empathy towards others, making it easier to forgive. Another Stoic practice is to consider the bigger picture. Often, the things we hold on to are not as significant in the grand scheme of our lives. By focusing on our long-term well-being, which is bolstered by peace and harmony, the immediate sting of grievances can be mitigated. Practicing forgiveness also involves actively reframing our narratives. Instead of viewing yourself as a victim, which can perpetuate feelings of anger and helplessness, try to see yourself as a survivor, or even a hero of your story, one who has overcome challenges and emerged stronger. This shift in perspective not only facilitates forgiveness, but also empowers you in your life's journey. Moreover, engaging in meditation or mindfulness exercises can assist in the process. These practices help calm the mind and provide the space needed to process emotions more rationally and less reactively. As you sit quietly and focus on your breath, allow thoughts of forgiveness to enter your mind. Picture those you feel have wronged you and imagine sending them thoughts of goodwill. This doesn't mean you accept the wrong, but you are choosing to release its hold over you. Finally, it's important to understand that forgiveness is a process, sometimes a lengthy one. It doesn't happen all at once, and that's perfectly okay. Each step towards forgiveness, no matter how small, is a step towards a freer, more emotionally balanced life. At its essence, self-grace allows us to pause before reacting, giving us the time to consider whether our impulses align with our long-term goals. For instance, if you're trying to lead a healthier lifestyle, self-grace is what helps you choose not to eat that late-night junk food. In emotional situations, self-grace helps you hold back a harsh word or an angry reply, preserving relationships and maintaining peace of mind. How can we strengthen this essential skill? One effective Stoic practice is to regularly reflect on our actions and their consequences. This could be as simple as taking a few minutes each evening to think about the choices you made throughout the day. Were there moments when you lacked self-control? What triggered it? Understanding these patterns is the first step towards managing them. Another powerful technique is to set clear personal rules for behavior based on your values. Stoicism teaches us that living according to rational principles is key to a good life. By setting and following your own rules, for example, not checking your phone during meals or limiting time spent on social media, you exercise self-control in ways that directly improve your daily life and well-being. Visualization is another tool that can be incredibly helpful. Before entering a situation where you know you might be tempted to act impulsively, take a moment to visualize yourself handling the situation with calm and restraint. Imagine the satisfaction you'll feel from acting in accordance with your principles. This mental rehearsal can make it much easier to keep your cool in the heat of the moment. It's also beneficial to gradually increase your tolerance for discomfort, which is a big part of what self-control is all about. The Stoics believe that by voluntarily exposing ourselves to discomfort, whether it's cold showers, fasting, or resisting urges, we can strengthen our willpower. These practices teach us that we can endure discomfort and that it's often not as bad as we fear. This realization directly feeds into our ability to exercise self-retreat in more complex emotional or social situations. Lastly, remember that practicing self-control is a journey, not a destination. There will be times when you falter. That's just part of being human. What matters is that you recognize these moments, learn from them, and continue to strive for improvement. Each act of self-control, no matter how small, is a victory in its own right and a step towards becoming a wiser, more balanced person. To further increase the quality of your life, we recommend watching this video on how to deal with the toxic people in your life before they drain all your energy.